Goobs, how have you never heard about murder hobos?
My goodness, goobers.
Because I'm fucking oblivious as all hell.
Don't you love that question?
Oh.
How
everyone,
have you?
welcome to Neon
Have
Scream.
you never seen the murder hobo?
Have you never understood what a murder hobo is?
Yeah, guys, if you don't know, Goobers doesn't know what a murder hobo is. He literally has never heard it before. How have you not heard that?
He's newer to D&D.
How are
Like,
you not a murder hobo, though?
Because he actually
I don't know. I don't know. What is the murder hobo? Everyone's just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I don't know.
Simplicity of it while everyone's laughing at you, apparently. No, it's basically you're an adventuring party with no homes. You travel from town to town, ignore story, and just murder everything for loot.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally a murder hobo.
There it is.
There it is, yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the Neon Scream wrap-up show. Welcome to the rap party. How's it going, everybody?
Subtitled The Murder Hobo Reborn.
Yeah, like Awful Mongers. Angmar literally went somewhere and just killed a random citizen.
That is
murder
the only
hobo.
difference is that Angmar had a home. That was the only difference.
Yeah.
That's true. And that
Wasn't that much of a home though, because you know it was a place for betrayal and distrust.
You had a roof. You had a roof.
Oh.
Is it starting already? It's starting already. Yeah, this is probably just gonna be Goobers yelling at me for like a solid 2 hours.
Yeah.
There's a strong possibility. How's it going, everybody? Welcome. As you're noticing, Mav and Pip are not going to be joining us tonight. They had some
They've
shit
eloped.
to deal with.
They have eloped.
They've eloped together.
Yes.
We're tracking them down for next week, hopefully. We need Pip back. But we'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk about that or
They're getting eloped on the moon?
no?
No?
Jay, do we want to talk about
Nothing. At all.
nothing?
Nothing. Whack. Nothing happened. Nothing.
Wait, what?
Look at that. What happened? Nobody's been switched? Everyone's in the proper place?
Okay, I was about to say.
Holy something!
Oh.
You guys were swapped. Yeah, you guys were swapped.
Goob was 515.
You know what's funny?
domestic day.
I've been looking at it.
We're streamers.
I've been looking at it for
We
like
look
2
like the
minutes.
Why do we have looking for stuff? My dad works for Sega. Ooh.
I have an uncle in Nintendo.
Why are you Kyle?
He'll
Why are
ban
you
you.
cousin Kyle?
He'll ban you from Twitch.
Oh,
He'll have to switch to Hitbox.
He may only work in accounts receivable, but he'll get you banned.
So, this whole night's gonna be like this, pretty much. I mean,
it's gonna be the whole thing.
it's gonna be the whole thing. So yeah, I guess we'll just talk about what's going on next week. Because next week is going to be the premiere of Identity Crisis. We are premiering Identity Crisis next week. It's happening. It's happening. We're doing it fast. It's like, hey, we didn't want to take any time off. We wanted to just get straight into the role playing, and that's what we're doing. We're doing that.
We're gonna be superheroes, guys.
Superheroes.
Or-
It's happening.
Dan's gonna be the head.
I really really hope you just there's a move like that, and every time you have to do the to use it.
Yeah, it's Identity Crisis is starting up next week. It's next week. We're playing the Masks RPG, starting up next week. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions about Neon,
Oh yeah, they're rolling in. Holy crap!
start rolling them in.
Yeah, I told him to do it
Start
now.
rolling them in.
So we can get back to him later.
Yeah.
Oh, same cast. No, Odious. No. Mav is leaving, unfortunately, but Pumpkinberry will be joining us as our 5th. And then everybody else is staying.
You going to tease your playbooks? No, because we're doing an episode 0 next week.
We don't know where they are.
Wack doesn't let us look.
No,
he really doesn't.
Okay,
like,
he tells
we
us,
can look.
Tells us not to, and then we still do. But then we have to like pretend that we didn't when we get to session 0. Like, oh,
well,
we need to know what the playbooks are before.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have to make everything like when we do episode 0, and we have a character in mind. But it's like a sentence describing our character essentially, and like the basics of what that character is, and then everything else is created on the fly, on the spot. Like 0 date, like the episode 0 is where the characters are born, like truly.
Yeah, that was really fun. Our
I
episode
love
0
doing
for
that, man.
Neon
I love
Scream
just
was
like
so fun.
having to come up with it on the spot. It's
yeah.
so much fun.
And we get to do the world building next week too, right?
Yeah, I love world building.
Correct. We get to decide on a lot of things next week.
It's gonna be great.
It's Jay's world building pace.
It's gonna be hype. A couple other things. We got some emotes going on in the channel, and we're close to partner as well. We already have like emotes ready to go, guys. Like we're on top of this shit. So we got we got the murder hobo at tier 1. We have the freaking adorable dragon at tier 2, and of course we've got the meme dice, the 6 die at tier 3. We've got 2 shows that use D6s for most of their dice rolls.
Yeah.
So why the hell not?
Pull these emotes up on the screen too.
Woo! Do something, baby.
Oh my god!
Oh, keep it on subs rolling.
I totally
Table
forgot.
to hobo.
I totally forgot to sub at tier 3. I thought like I would get the emotes just because
you're Jay.
Yeah. Well,
Damn, look at all those subs.
I was like, oh yeah,
so many.
Well, you get your own emotes. So yeah, use the murder hobo emote as much as possible. I'm also thinking of getting some better Twitch TV emotes made because I know not everyone's going to be able to subscribe. Maybe just a few ones that won't ever touch the sub table, so everyone can use them. We will hopefully have a bus emote. All right, the bus is a thing.
We have to make.
I've been yelled at. I wasn't gonna make one because Neon Scream was ending, and then everyone was like, "Jay, we need a fucking bus." So for now, use the bus emoji. But
it's pretty much this crew's like standby, so we have to represent them somehow.
Yeah, it's transcended as far as just like get on the bus. Like we need that emote. Like there has to be a shirt. Like we've been talking about this for a while. Like we need a fucking shirt that says "Get on the bus."
Yep.
And then it's just a picture of like Boom lying in the ground on the backside.
Hey, listen, double-sided.
That's not the context.
Fucking no. That shirt is the Boom is Boom.
Boom is
Oh,
boom.
Yeah, that
Boom
was the
is
Boom is
Boom.
Boom.
No, we should have something like the remains of Boom are on the back of the shirt, and then just don't have anything there, like there's no print.
Oh, that's just me.
Savage.
Can Richard just be on top of the bus?
Just surfing. I mean, imagine, if we got a Neon Scream wrap-up shirt, which is something that I will now have to commission, it would probably be like Richard surfing on the fucking bus with something else happening. Hopefully,
Jen like being dragged by it.
Yeah, she's just holding on like that.
Only one shoe though. Only one.
Yeah.
shoe.
Only one shoe.
Richard just has the shoe in his hand.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be great.
But, yeah, so lots of stuff going on. Table Stories Patreon is going on. It's been rocking and rolling on the Patreon. We've gotten a lot of patrons so far. 46 patrons so far. It's good.
That's so awesome, guys.
This actually, speaking of Patreon, better cut Twitch or Patreon. If you guys are looking to support, Patreon is a better cut. You can give more over on there, and you get more as well. There's so many amazing rewards that I feel like Wack was just about to say. I'm sorry.
Totally.
I'm so sorry. I saw the question and I couldn't let it get past by. So sorry.
As Jay was saying, we have a lot of wonderful things on the Patreon. Stuff we've been working on for quite a while. We've got a bunch of different features on there that just has a lot of rewards. We want to have this Patreon because number one, it's going to help increase the production quality on our shows and help us and me eat. It's a way to also give you guys some stuff that you were probably thinking about or wanted from Table Story. We've got stuff. We've got a special one shot that Brad wrote for D&D 5th edition, just as like a welcoming gift at tier 1. And then we've got character sheets and character backstories on tier 2 that we're going to be constantly throwing stuff at you with. Like every month, we're going to give you like new sets of character sheets. Like this month, we did 7th Eon, and we've got a bunch of like backstories and stuff on there. We've also got the official Table Story character sheet in PDF format and form fillable or just printable if you want that. Like if you want a cool character sheet, I made like a super efficient one that's just kind of like really like easy to use and has all the info on the like first page like right away. We're going to be doing a podcast. Me, Jay, and Brad are going to be doing like a special GM podcast that we're calling Ready to Roll. That will just have like a lot of different DM topics and things that we go over. We're also working on, by the way, this will be access at like $1. We're going to have like the MP3 podcast version of our shows, or I should say MP3 like archive of all of our shows. We're going to put that up there. That's going to get worked on. That's coming soon. It's not out yet. We're going to give you the option to cram an NPC into a Table Story show. So if you guys have wanted a way to like directly force your will upon us, like into a show, this is a way to do that. Basically, you can create an NPC. You send us a message on the Patreon with your NPC and information. Assuming they're appropriate, we'll add them to the show. We're going to add them like as a list. Like we'll have them and we'll have go-to guys. We've got custom monsters on there, like stuff that all of us have sort of used for shows. We're giving you access to them. The hope is that we're going to create like a straight up like Table Story monster manual. Like here's like a big thing of Table Story monsters. Here you go. Use them for your campaigns. Got battle maps, campaign maps, and cannibalized campaigns. Basically, I'm making battle maps for you guys to use, different themes and stuff where you get to vote on them. We've got just like cannibalized campaigns, which are sections of our campaigns that we're like writing up. So they're like mini campaign settings that we're giving out. I gave out like a really good one. Charlie, if you guys know Tilla Seeger, she did a commission piece for me for the setting that I released this month from 7th Eon. And we're also working on a shill show. If you guys like Neon Maydu,
yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We're doing that. We're doing that. You guys get to decide what role playing system we use for that. Yeah. Right now, I'll give you a peek at the list, okay? That you can see only if you're a patron. Right now on the list, we've got Kobolds Ate My Baby, Ninja Burger, Inspectors, which is kind of like a Ghostbusters one, Fiasco, which is like a really clusterfucky kind of. Yeah, it's kind of like a clusterfucky event, and I just saw a fucking typo that I have to fix. And of course, Murder Hobos, which is an actual.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That is. I feel like that's the system that was made.
That's the list right now. Murder Hobos is currently winning. I wonder why. We're gonna be doing that. And then the final tier is a private Table Story one shot. We're gonna be rotating out whoever does that. It's a straight up, it's like a private, like audio only DM by one of us kind of games.
If you up your pledge, you can get video too.
I mean, that's like a private thing that Jay's offering.
That was picture.
Yeah. I mean, that's a kind of,
We have another Patreon for that, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at with the Patreon. We've done a lot of shit for Table Story this last month or so, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. And yeah, we're starting up the new show next week. So
15th,
hopefully that's
7 p.m.
enough time for people to give us all these questions and everything.
Oh yeah, I've got one immediately. Goobers, Genova wants to know how Angmar lost his jaw.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we're just going.
Well, this is a question. This is a question. Like, are we? Because here's the thing. Like, as role players, like there's certain things that you do, elements that you make up that you don't necessarily plan to have a background for, and then you don't explain, just simply to add like potential role playing points or mystery or story or something like that.
Okay, yeah, you don't have to.
No, I was just questioning. Like, my question is like, are we going into that? Are we going deep into that and kind of talking about things that weren't explained on the show?
If you want to, yeah. Like, it's your, they're your characters, right?
Here's my thinking. My thinking is, if you guys don't want to talk about it, if you want to leave it up as a mystery, that's entirely up to you. Okay. I think the point of this Q&A is to try and answer people's questions. But if you feel like it's better to leave it up in the air and open-ended, I think do that. Whatever you feel, leave it up to you guys.
Well, I'll say this. I know why he got, why his jaw is gone. And it has a lot to do with him first joining the Ark and his family. And there was never any talk about a family or anything like that. But there was a life-changing event that kind of the jaw was essentially the start of his involvement down this road towards what he did and why he was doing it. I'm gonna leave some of it to mystery, but I will say bad shit happened. He lost his jaw, and he wasn't always like what he was in the show, and that was the turning point that changed him into Angmar from who he was before. So I'll leave that up for the mystery. Like, good writers don't answer all the questions.
Okay. Going on that, I think 2 people asked different versions. One asked you, Goobs, but I wanted to all of us. If we could roll another character, what would we roll this time? That's like.
I think I know the answer for Goobers.
Oh, I already know my answer.
What would it be, Wack?
100% a killer for Goobers.
You think so?
Yep.
See,
after losing 2 characters that you put like a lot of time into, I feel like, okay, now I need to blow some shit up. That's the mentality that I was gonna betray everyone, and then fuck you, Wack. I'm gonna just kill everybody now. That's my mentality.
Yeah, I think he's spot on with that.
I think it would either be that, or I'd probably actually go soldier, because I just kind of end up like doing kind of leadership things. Like, it's not necessarily that I think I'm the leader and the best one. No, I'm just like, a lot of times it's just like decisions just need to be made, and it's not that it's a matter of like the right decision or the wrong decision. It's just a matter of like a decision needs to be made, and I got no problems just being the guy who's just like, okay, here's an idea. What do you guys think?
What are you breaking?
Sorry, my my camera thing fucked up. Zoom, that's what it's called. Fucked up.
But yeah, I'd say killer or soldier, depending on the comp of the party.
I would have done soldier probably, or hacker seemed really interesting when Pip was playing it. So That was cool.
Yeah, to be fair, she didn't really get like a lot of time to play the hacker. It was kind of like a weird, she had like life stuff going on, so she had to hop out of a bunch of sessions, and she didn't really have a lot of time to get to really play the hacker, especially in that last area.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see. I like the idea of just the playing field kind of under the actual playing field, the game within a game thing. That was really cool. Dan, what would your...
So I was actually, before I rolled Hunter, I was going to be rolling a soldier.
Oh yeah,
3 soldiers.
I remember that.
I was going to be a soldier, and I didn't solely because Mav was coming back as a soldier.
What was the other one you wanted?
No, killer. I was thinking of killer or soldier, and then when I talked to Wack about like what kind of character it was going to be, soldier. But then Mav rejoined in and did that. So
the funny thing is, like, I think Mav would have liked a killer like way more if she was a killer.
I think so too.
Yeah.
She was really into soldier though. Like when we were talking, she was like on it for soldier. You know what I mean? Like she was talking about it and she was really hyped up for it.
I think it's like soldier also kind of implies that you would be like the front man and be, or woman and be out there.
You have to be a very sort of A-type personality, you know, to be the soldier, I think.
Which was, I was thinking that because I didn't play that at all in any of the characters. Elbreth a little bit, but that wasn't, like Richard was not that. He was like the longest character I played was stay the fuck away from everything. Richard did not want to be in
but
it.
you were. I felt like Richard was kind of the leader back in season 1. Like Simon.
He kind of had to be.
Yeah, Simon would throw directions and such, but Richard was always the one that we'd look at, and he'd be like, disappointed. Yep.
And then Richard seemed like he was the kind of person where it's just like, if he didn't agree with the plan, or if it wasn't run his way, then he was gonna say something. And he was not. He was just like, don't like it's gotta be like, why the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. Like there is a correct answer to everything. That was Richard's thing. There's a correct answer to everything. It's logical. You gotta do this. Why the fuck would we not do this? And then he'd get really fucking pissed when you're just like, what? It's not logical, you know? And I loved that. I thought that was great. The banter back and forth between Simon and Richard was fucking legendary, man. Like that was, and you know, I gotta say, like, kudos to Dan here, because there were, okay, I'll be honest here. There were points where I'm just like, is this bitch just being mean to me? Like, what's going on here? Like,
I hate that in games like this.
But then, and I didn't say anything because I'm like, no, Dan's a good role player. Dan knows what he's doing. And then he plays Elbereth, and Elbereth is like, even Richard in season 2, and his reactions toward Angmar were totally different. Right? And so it wasn't just me, it was Simon. So I'm like, okay, great, solid. He was just really playing that character well. Like kudos to you, Dan. That was awesome. But at certain points, I'm like, does this bitch hate me? Like, what's going on here? Like,
God.
Is this bleed?
Yes, right? Exactly. Exactly.
So, Dark Exodus, just know that I see your question, and I will do that, but that's going to be towards the end of the show. I'm going to talk about that towards the end of the show.
There was a good one that I just saw. Odious, I saw your question, but I feel like that's a really long discussion right now. But Silver asked one. We'll see if we can get to it. Well, Silver asked one, said, throughout both seasons, who is your favorite character not played by you?
Good question.
Yeah, I think that's a. Mine immediately is Richard.
I don't want to answer because I don't want to like show favoritism.
I want to know your answer.
No, fucking do it.
I want to know your answer.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can answer last if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll go last.
Okay. Mine's Richard.
I was gonna say Boom.
No shit, really? That's funny.
Boom, or even Simon, actually.
Really?
Yeah, there's crazy amount of character depth with Simon.
Yeah, there was you put a lot into that character, I could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Boom's
enjoyed
still number one. I loved him.
Yeah.
He was just
Boom was great.
He was so lovable.
He was
He
so
was,
fun to
and then
play
his
as.
death-
It was like the actually sad.
Mm.
It
for
was
everyone.
so
I was, yeah, I was
Every other
crying.
death was like, that kind of sucks. Booms was like, I'm actually kind of misty right now. I'm not okay.
I wonder
Oh.
if that was because I was the first, and then
No,
immediately.
he was,
Oh,
he
wait.
was wonderful.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was the first to die.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
He
I was the
absolutely
first to die.
So
So
but
I
if
just
anyone else
I
had
don't know.
died, Also, I was fucking trying to kill Jen. That wouldn't have bothered me.
Okay, well, I mean, like die
No,
of,
I know.
of our own fuck ups or whatever. So I feel like immediately after that, and we had that conversation, and I was like, oh wow, it's really easy to die in this system. Like my expectations were just fucking down here for the whole, like every character. Immediately, I was like, we're all dead. I'm not gonna last 3 episodes.
Exactly. Yep.
That was
If
why
you notice-
I made Gerard. Like I thought Gerard wasn't gonna last more than 3 episodes. And we got like however many in, and I was like, I'm fucking bored of this character now.
That's why Richard got so paranoid.
Mm.
It was when after Boom died,
Yeah.
I had his character paranoid go like,
Yeah.
I remember that there were talks like with Dan, like this was just, you know, us hanging out like IRL, like if we were getting ready to do POS stuff or whatever, like just talking and stuff, and it was basically talking about like where Richard's character was going after a while and the character development that was happening with Richard. And Dan was just like, Richard's going insane. Like slowly but surely, Richard is truly going insane. And he's just getting angrier and angrier, and he's starting to like care less about like what other people are saying. If it's a logical thing, then Richard's gonna do it, and it's gonna get him killed. Like it's gonna get him killed. But I'm pushing this path, and I'm just like, all right, dude, kudos to you, man. Like that's freaking crazy, you know. But I would have to say my favorite character. My favorite characters were probably, I don't know. I loved Monty so much.
Monty's an NPC.
I mean,
well, but I mean, like, does that not count for the? I didn't play that character.
that's true.
So,
That's true. Wack played that character.
I
fair,
love
Monty was
Wack,
incredible.
You played such good characters,
Yeah, dude.
man.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh, that one. And what was the hacker's name back in season 1 that died from Elena?
Oh my god.
The kid.
Was it Pluton?
Pluton. Yes. H. Pluton. Yes.
I still remember Goober's laugh when I did that. He lost his shit.
I did.
When we
it.
first
He
heard
lost
his voice.
shit.
Oh.
I was so done. I was such
There's
a good.
There's certain characters that get like made up, like contacts and stuff, that I can immediately picture in my head. And as soon as, for me, whenever I do a character's voice, I need to picture them. Once I picture the way that they look or they act or emote, then I immediately know the voice.
Yeah.
It just clicks.
Oh, I will say it was a very, very short appearance, but man, you did it. You did his character so well, and it was I forget what his name was, but it was the item shop guy, this dude. Guy.
You did him incredibly well.
He was so
my
good,
God.
man. You think I need to get this looked at? I wonder, can I just cut that? Is that? God damn. I've seen some things, boy.
That's fucking great.
I was dying, man. That was so good.
What was your favorite character, Wack?
So I'm gonna do this season by season.
Okay.
Because they changed. And it's hard. It's straight up hard. Like, I want to make this clear. Like, and this isn't like the mom response, right? Like, this is being legit. Like, I legit had many favorite characters in both seasons. But for the purpose of this, I will decide, because you guys are all like, yeah, give us the fucking dirt, Wack. I'd say for the first season, I liked Voss. Voss was wonderful. I think she had a way of connecting with all of the other characters really well.
Yeah.
It seemed like she had a relationship with all of the other characters, and it was a really good interconnection, and it was like a subtle way to bring the group together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it was a different kind of take on a really good character because she had a lot of depth. There was a possible thing going on with Simon. There was
that was such a good situation. And like, Whack, I gotta say, like so I built in with that story, like with my own thing, like I built in the thing of like, this might fuck me over where I'm recording shit and you took it and ran and stuff like that. And it didn't work out, but like it did work out for the story in the sense of like, you know, it showed that Simon has major trust issues and like and all that shit. And it just evolved. And it was just, oh, that was so good. I remember seeing like I remember seeing Pip's face when I'm just like, yep, and I clicked the record button and she's just like, oh, you dick. And I'm just like, ah!
So yeah, I think that one was a really that was a really solid way for the group to kind of get some shared feelings. It was like through Voss, because she was, if you think about it, I feel like her and Richard in general were very much like group characters. Like they were the characters that interacted the most with the rest of the group. And those are important sort of roles to play. You can have a character that has a very strong personality, and I think Goobers tends to play characters like that. They have a very strong personality, a lot of depth to them. But it's kind of like a I don't want to use like the word selfish, but it's a very focused on that character, and it will give a lot of depth to the character. But when you have a character like Voss or Richard, they have maybe not so strong of a presence for them, but they're very good at getting other people to have more of an influence on the scenario.
That's the power of a supporting role and why they're so fucking important.
Yep.
So important.
Yep.
Saying that Voss was the only one that spoke boom. I think if Voss wasn't there, then my character would have been fucking useless. Like Pip did really, really good with that. I think she's the reason why I liked that character so much. Was because of those interactions.
She managed to form a relationship, like I said, with Voss, with all of the other characters.
It was great.
You know, and Mav wasn't really in the first season that much, but she still had something going with Jen in the first season too. You know, they had a little bit of conversation and stuff like that. So it was even happening there, and they didn't really even have a lot of time to do that. So that was probably season 1. Season 2, I'm gonna say Kit.
Oh,
I'm gonna say Kit.
Shit.
I liked Kit a lot. Yeah,
they were really fun.
Unintentionally, I think that Kit, with the sort of clone situation that we worked out, because Jay was really like, I don't want to make another character. I really liked Kit, and I said, okay, that's fine. Why do you think I added this fucking megacorp? I'm like, if people really love a character, let's just make another one. You know, like it's that was my way to try and give people like a second chance with a character for the mega corporation.
I guess I was like more down about their death than I thought. I thought I was totally fine with it, but I mean, I did get kind of attached to them. They were fun to play.
Yeah.
It was and I think Kit was another sort of character that didn't have a strong personality per se, but they had a sort of interesting personality, and they had a connection with everybody in the group. I think that's kind of like, maybe that's just the DM side of me, where it's just like, I like that people are trying to get everybody else involved. You know, and it just kind of ended up being that way for Kit. She was kind of like they were kind of like a character that did that.
Yeah, they were really fun to play. That was cool. I had a question going back to Richard, and speaking of Boss, Dan, did you and Pip completely improvise a lot of your dialogue for season 2 between Richard and Boss, or was there some off-screen coordination?
All of it was improvised.
Because it was really, it was like
improvised.
Rock solid. And I mean, I think that's what you get from playing a character for however long.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And being able to like know each other. But yeah, neither of us talked about it aside from being like, oh yeah, good stuff. Yeah, sort of thing. That was about it. Yeah.
I think like a lot of people have this kind of weird thing where I think as the audience, you have this like, there's no way they can be doing this on improv. When you have a group of experienced role players, it does happen from improv. Like, I cannot tell you how many situations that you think are not improv. There's no way that could be improv is 100%.
It's probably
Didn't
always
mention it in the least outside of the session, like straight improv. It just happens. It's just,
we really hold true to the non-meta stuff. Like, we don't table talk. Like, and when we're offline, like, even if it's like a really fucking intense moment and there's like a big decision made and like there's a break and whatever, like we may like kind of start edging toward table talk like during a break. Then one of us will be like, save for the RP, save for the show, save for the show. And I'll just shut up immediately.
I think
like, because like doing it in the moment is just so much more genuine, and you get the subtleties of improv that you don't get with planned content, where it's improv is not always correct correct. Like, there are subtle mistakes or mistakes, but there's subtle things that happen that wouldn't be like, you wouldn't see in like a screen perfect, like a planned event, right? A scripted event, where those little imperfections, if you want to call them that, give substance, like substance to the moment, like way beyond what a scripted event would be. And I think that's something that we all cherish, you know. So
that's some of those scenes between Richard and Boss were fucking hilarious, and then some were actually like really compelling moments that made me feel. And there was a lot of those moments in the campaign, like it didn't matter which character, like there were a lot of emotions, especially in season 1. That was a really emotional campaign for a while. Okay, I wanted to correct, somebody in the chat asked where the we came from for Kit. It actually wasn't their pronouns. Without going too much into it, the thing with Kit was that there was a brother and a sister. I could have had an idea of a double personality living inside, and that was the we is the fourth ticket and all that stuff. That was always for her brother, not for the stuffed animal. But somebody asked earlier about how did we like Powered by the Apocalypse as a system. They said terrible dice aside.
Wait. I want to clarify this, because there's an important difference. There's an important difference between the Sprawl and Powered by the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Powered by the Apocalypse is a very large engine that incorporates many different games. Let's restrict this to the Sprawl.
I think that's what Odin is saying. Yeah.
Oh, that's far more fair, because I will say I didn't enjoy it. Personally, I've had some. Now, I liked the role playing, I liked the world, and I liked the characters. I did not enjoy the Sprawl as a system.
The gameplay, yeah.
The game mechanics. I understand that's what it. We had this discussion a lot of the time. I'd have these vents after a session, just being like, "Fuck this system," so much, and it wasn't being like, "I'm quitting. I'm done with this, and I want Wack to play as nicer and easier." No, but it was I don't enjoy this because it is so rough to deal with. Rough. Like, I want to do something. No. Okay.
Well,
I guess. All right. And it's just because, like, well, I guess I rolled average or above average, but it wasn't excellent. And that's the main reason. It's if you didn't roll excellent, you failed. That was the I think that was the main reason I didn't like.
I think a lot of the consequences were too harsh, but that's also that's the system.
That's the point of the system.
That's the system.
Yeah,
I will say, like, it's cyberpunk. Like, that's the thing. Yep, it's cyberpunk. Nobody wins in cyberpunk. Nobody ever. End of story. Nobody wins.
Oh, I mean,
I beg to differ. So Adam Coble made a wonderful comment once I said that we've kind of wrapped up, and I made a comment about the Sprawl in general, saying, that it very much like represents cyberpunk, the system itself. And he says, the players aren't the players. He said the megacorps are the PCs.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Wait,
because
so
all like it's we're progressing the game on our own through our actions and causing the clocks to go up. We're
the megacorps. The megacorps are like the heroes. Like they're the ones that don't die.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was through our actions. Actually, never mind. Okay.
I think at least what I got from it was that the megacorps are the things that you can't beat. They're the heroes. Like they are the protagonists. Like
that makes me.
If you think about it, we're kind of the bad guys.
And you guys made them, right?
Yeah.
You guys created the megacorps, so it's almost like the character creation.
I feel dirty.
So in a way, we still won.
Why'd you think I loved Richard so much? Made machine, made man, became a corporation in the end, and he escaped.
Yeah, Dan won. Dan and Voss won.
I think like this system,
well, and the others that survived.
I liked this entire system. Like as ruthless as it was, there was like my complaints about it, but it was fun-ish to play once we kind of like, oh yeah, okay, no fun allowed, no character backstories allowed, because we're gonna have to replace them potentially. The only fucking thing that actually ruined this system for me was Act Under Pressure. That move actually, it was fucking garbage.
See, like Act Under Pressure,
if it was a 9 down to an 8 or like a 7, I would understand that. But like a 9 in the higher end of a 2d6 roll, like that should be an automatic success.
That one did. I totally like and to continue off of that, I agree with that sentiment, because it's a little weird when like it's like I'd rather either succeed flat out, 10 plus, or fail flat out 6 or lower, because just nothing happens in that point. But if you fail and you get 6 minus, like just nothing happens. But if you get in that middle range,
no, you're thinking of assess.
So the way
no, I'm thinking of the one where it's like okay, something happens or the clock
Act Under Pressure. Act Under Pressure specifically was the hedging 7 and 9. That was like Act Under Pressure was meant to be like the defensive move, the stealth move, and I feel like there's one other one that I'm forgetting. Like it's like an all-encompassing move, and it's rough because okay, situation in the door, in like the security door situation that happened in the final episode. If you just straight fail that, what happens, right? Like, let's think about that for a second. If you straight fail it, that person is getting busted. Pip would have gotten busted, right? On a fail.
Yeah.
She would have gotten busted, probably taken somewhere. Now it's a completely different thing that happens, right? How would Dan have reacted if Pip gets hauled away?
Yeah.
Right. Well, so then the other side of that too, which is again not this is why I disliked the system, but I still like the world. Like for Act Under Pressure, for instance, when Kit and Elbereth running up the escalator, Act Under Pressure, I got a 9 and then took 3 damage and was almost incapacitated. That wasn't a fail. That was my partial success. Which, again, that's why I was just kind of like, fuck this system.
It's so mean.
Because if I had failed, I probably would have just outright died, according to how that worked.
I wanna just address a comment from Odious.
Yeah.
It's the same underlying system though. This is all powered by the apocalypse, but you got to understand the result for what happens affects everything else. Okay. The result in Cyberpunk is you fucking die.
Yeah.
And nobody cares because they're
nobody
cyberpunk.
We're playing
cares.
Teen Titans, guys. Like,
Nobody cares.
We're gonna,
Okay, when you fail in masks, you get a hug.
Yeah, I was reading up on that to give you guys an idea. When you fail, you mark a thing called potential, which as you get more potential,
That's
you get XP. You get XP when you fail in masks. I'm so happy.
oh yeah! Holy shit! Oh man.
The way that you want to look at masks is there's very little chance that a character will die, but there is
I'm gonna push that shit.
there is a higher chance that the character will like get retired. You know what I mean? Like something you could get retired. Character won't die, but it's still gonna be like bad.
What if my character's ability is to like he dies and then can be like instantly like
immortal?
Reborn? Yeah.
Did you ever read? I don't want to get too much into.
But he has to like
that.
Deadpool it and slowly grow himself
Oh
out.
my God. You just want to be Deadpool. You just want a fucking baby.
I
hand.
don't want to like get too much into that, but like, did you read or did you ever read Invincible, the comic book series?
No.
It's a really good comic book series that I highly recommend to people. It's like a superhero comic that actually has depth.
Whoa.
It's like Jay's mind.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, it actually has depth. It's crazy. When you hit issue 13 in Invincible, just have a diaper on. That's all I'm gonna say. Because Jesus Christ.
Oh.
I highly recommend it. Okay, so
I like that
next
though.
question.
You succeed, lose use of a leg. You succeed, but your arms fall off. welcome to Cyberpunk. Yep, welcome to Cyberpunk.
Yep. I mean it's funny because like that's not a stretch. That's not a stretch at all. It's like you partially succeed. What body part would you like to lose?
Yeah,
that happened constantly.
I lost an eye when I was like, all right, you didn't die from the sword slash. Good job.
Yep.
What happened? Well, you lost an eye.
Okay.
Okay. All
right.
I like that though because it kind of like I'm always one where
It immersed you in that cyberpunk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, why I honestly did not like the system, but I loved the setting and everything that went around with it. Which is why again I wasn't like I'm quitting this. I'm quitting. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Everything
I
else
totally
is so
agree.
good.
I totally agree with that sentiment, man. It's the setting and like the characters and the story around what we had created was so captivating, was so immersive. There was so much to it, right? And I loved that, and I was so attached to it. But this system just was every Friday was just another kick in the dick, right? It was just like, hey, remember that no one cares about you.
Best kicks on the dick I've ever gotten in my life.
Yep. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
I've had some really wonderful kicks in the dick.
Do you know what just reminded me of the time where I shot someone and then got knocked out by shooting them successfully?
You shot them.
Oh.
You got hit in the chest with your rifle and passed out.
A couple people have asked, what happened to Jen? Wack. People ask.
So I think the running joke is that Jen just survives everything, right? Yeah, I mean, she lived. She lived.
Sakes.
I hate you.
100%.
I ran her over with an APC.
She's fucking Will Ferrell in Austin Powers. You know, she's the character. I'm still alive. I'm just very badly burned. Like, it's, you know, by the end of every season, she was just gonna be progressively worse. You know, like she was gonna be like a fucking, you know, she'd just be patched together with duct tape and spit.
And no shoes.
No shoes. Never
lost the other one.
I thought we were fucking dividing by zero by throwing Mav into the room where Wack was playing Jen. Like I thought that was going to just be. I was like, we're gonna be here for 3 fucking hours.
I love Mav's reaction though. She didn't know what to do. I was like, yes, this is the best. I was so happy to do that.
That was so funny. That was hilarious.
And I got to flirt with Jen.
Yep.
So,
I hope you feel dirty.
Yeah, that was
hey,
gross.
I lived. I fucking lived. I feel great.
That's true.
I didn't.
I want to point out. I want to point out, Dan had the last roll of the campaign, unless Wack made a roll. But Dan had the last roll of the campaign.
Yeah, it was I think it was an act under pressure.
No, it was a style.
Was it a style? What was it?
It was to
Hit
talk
the streets,
to
probably.
What's his face?
Oh, yeah.
To let you out.
Yep, it was hits the streets to have Eduardo let me leave.
Hello. Oh no, Eduardo.
No,
that was the guard.
Oh, you were fast talking? Maybe you were.
I don't remember. I did something with style to get me out of there.
Was that Eli?
Elo.
Or Elo.
Eduardo was the guard.
Yeah, who was holding Jen.
I think you were. That was a fast talk roll.
Yeah,
that was
to get out of there. And he was like, "It's not your fault. It's hers. Go away."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to save a portion of this to talk about like the end.
Okay.
Stuff. But yeah. Let's move on maybe to the next one.
What was the most memorable thing that ever happened off camera, but you couldn't mention it for professionalism or whatever reason?
I mean, I feel like we probably still can't answer that.
If it's for professionalism, we probably. I can't think of anything there was. Maybe all the times that Goobers like went back in his chair and went yeet, 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 like over and over on the breaks and shit, but
the start of like every show, like getting into just Zoom, I'm just like, I'm the hype man! Yay! Like,
and Goobers always like woke up right before the show.
It was like,
nothing's changed.
Just like wakes up,
it'd be like, I need coffee and spice and drink.
Especially like season 2 where he's like scrambling to put on Angmar stuff. I'm like,
and like he had it, and Goobers always has this kind of like on switch that he'd like you know, where he just like powers up and just
that's great. I will say every time Goobers entered the fucking call, it was so fucking loud. Oh my god. I think I keep you guys get the full blast. For me, I have my volume on this PC at 10% through my earphones because partly Zoom and partly Goobers and sometimes Dan's mics are really loud. Oh man, I can't think of anything crazy that happened that we. I mean, if anything crazy that happened that we can't talk about, we've probably forgotten it. That's why it was so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
we're not. I'm heroin.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's crazy shit that happens. Like, we're not gonna talk about it. I
mean, overall, like
private lives.
Remember any of it?
Like overall, like as far as like relating to like the story or the show or anything like that, like we very, very much kept the discussions of the show and of the story and how we were going to do things and all that stuff. We kept that to the show. Like, we very, very much just like every time we started edging that way, it's like, let's leave it to the show. Let's leave it to the show. So like most of our conversations didn't have a lot to do with the show. It was just like, hey, how's it going? You know, just bullshitting and talking. Other than just like, we get into in the Zoom call, just like, fuck this system. God damn it.
After like breaks on those brutal sessions and you're like, we're going to go to break and we scream, fuck you as we do. And then like, I go to break and like, all right, we're good. Everyone's,
fuck.
Yeah, like Goobers is usually the fuck.
Yeah.
And then like,
yeah.
It's so accurate.
How many times is there like a,
yep.
At like the top of his lungs.
Yeah, it happened quite a bit. I guess I just let me make like one final comment like on the system itself, because I think it does need to be addressed like kind of directly. From my perspective, this was my choice. When Jay first approached me for the show, he's like, I want you to run a show on my channel. You know, I want to run some. I said, fine. It's not going to be D&D though. He's like, oh.
Every time.
Oh.
Every time.
And I'm like, listen, dude. I said, I'm running enough D&D stuff. I want to run something else. He's like, well, what do you want to run? And Jay's like immediately panicking. Fuck my plans. Fuck. And he's just like, oh, okay, well, what do you want to run? I'm like, well, I think I want to run like a cyberpunk thing. And he's like, oh,
fuck.
Well, what about that NEW system? I said, well, I'm already doing that for another show. I'd like to do something different. And he's like, okay. So, and like this worry is still there. So like Shadowrun? And I'm like, no,
I didn't know. I said fuck no to Shadowrun because I asked somebody about Shadowrun and they were like, stay the fuck away. Like, never touch it.
Shadowrun's cool if you know everything there is to know about it already, but holy shit, it's so goddamn complicated.
3.5.
The Shadowrun deal is I really like the setting for Shadowrun. Definitely more than the Sprawl's standard kind of human stuff. I like the fantasy that's thrown in there very much. But no fucking thank you on trying to translate certain systems for audiences. People can understand the Powered by the Apocalypse World engine very easily. You might hold an audience for a short amount of time with a weird system, but if you look at the screen and people are rolling shit and there's all these weird fucking symbols on there and you gotta factor in this and that, people are going to come into the stream and be like, what the fuck is this? I mean, I did that for the Star Wars stuff. I still try to watch the Star Wars role-playing stuff. I have no fucking idea what is happening.
I'm the exact same.
People are like, oh, it's real easy. Well, I got news for you. I read the fucking rules. I still don't fucking understand
it.
Tell us your opinions, Wack.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel, baby.
So,
oh my god,
my thinking on the Sprawl in general is I ultimately don't like it. Overall, I don't like it, and my thinking is if I had the option to do the show over again, I would look at the Veil as a possibility. From what I read, it's got a very different take on things. Like your attributes are like emotions or something. Like there's a very weird way that it's handled. It's a very different kind of thing. Like I would try that. Ultimately, it's just the Sprawl is really good at conveying cyberpunk, but I don't know how great it is for a show. If Hamish Cameron, I think that's his name, the creator of the Sprawl, came in and watched any of our shows, he'd be like, what the fuck did they do to my system? Okay, because I definitely did not do what you're supposed to do with the book. We ham-fisted the role-playing into the system so hard.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, it's not supposed to do what we did. It's not. It's not designed for that. You're supposed to do your fucking missions. These missions are all supposed to go way faster. Way faster. Like an episode or two. Mission done. But we wanted to role play.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a very good one-shot thing. Kind of like, what did we play at TwitchCon? Wax?
City of Mist.
City of Mist. Like, I feel like
that
this
was so much
is a good
fun.
system for that kind of as well. Just make a character, go in.
Heartily disagree with you, but I also
Really?
have the book, so.
I mean, you're the one that DM'd it, so I'll take your
I
side.
think the biggest thing,
the
the best part about the Apocalypse or Powered by the Apocalypse, whatever it's called, systems based on that, the benefit of that, the reason why I love the core foundation of where it comes from is because of, number one, how simple it is. There's not like a whole list of like, you've got this spell and this, blah, 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 blah. It's just like you kind of slap the character together and you make it work and you make the system work for you and you go, right? It's not overly complicated. It's built for more like RP related stuff because it's lighter on the system. It's closer to 5e rather than 3.5, right? And And so I really enjoyed the simplicity, like a system that is simple and allows for the characters to build out the story and the game as we see fit is the enticing part to me. However, this one in particular is just, it's rough. It's rough. And that's the big thing. It portrays cyberpunk really well, but that's because cyberpunk is just fucking mean. It's just mean. So,
like I said, if I had the option to play the system again, I wouldn't. If you want to talk about, like, the show had a lot of deaths, boom boom, and I'm talking about deaths, not retirements. Gerard technically didn't die, he was retired. Boom boom, Simon, Kit counts.
Kit, oh yeah, that's right, yeah.
First death.
We lost Siren, and we lost Angmar.
Oh yeah.
So 5 character deaths. Okay.
And Matt didn't lose one. I'm so angry.
5 character deaths. Now, Adam Coble, they did a show, okay, with the Sprawl. They had way more. I don't know what the final number was, but they had way more, and I think they ran about as long as we did.
Wow.
Yeah, they had way more. Elf actually told me, she said, "Oh, we fucking hated the Sprawl." Because it straight up is trying to kill you. Like, it's trying to kill you.
You know what's funny though? Is it like as far as like it trying to kill you? Is it like just? I mean, I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but like system wise, like we figured out mission wise what's gonna kill us, what's gonna hurt us. So okay, we got to prep more. All right, let's prep more. Okay, great. We haven't bought enough gear and stuff like that and done that. Okay, let's buy more gear. Okay, we got to use our contacts to, like, every contact has to be used. Okay, great, let's use our contacts. Let's just get every sort of prep work that we can. Let's do this, whatever. And we need to have contingency plans, right? All these things. And even if that happens, then we found out on the final mission that wasn't really something that we had experienced too intensely, was the hidden counters. And the hidden counters is a thing trying to kill you, right? Yeah. So it's always something new that's trying to kill you. You know?
I got news for you guys, and this is you're probably gonna laugh, but I was definitely going easy on you.
Oh no, yeah, you were.
Eric Vulgaris came up to me at TwitchCon, and he's like, "Oh, I really like Neon Scream or whatever." I said, "Oh, thanks." He says, "But you're going really easy on them. You know that, right?" And I said, "Oh yeah, you think?" Yeah. I mean, I could have been really, really bad. There's just a lot of opportunities where you can just completely just fucking destroy the players and throw a lot more combat at them, and it's brutal. I mean, there's a lot of clocks that got into the orange over the course of the campaign, and when you get into the orange, that's when the really bad shit starts coming out.
Like when you're.
Oh, by the way,
N7.
N7. I just want to immediately respond to that because that's important pertaining to what this conversation is. Why did he have his own clock? Because everyone has a clock. Every single character, even without Wax saying like beforehand, like, well, this person's got a clock. Everyone has a potential clock, depending on their involvement and how crucial they are to the operation and crucial they are to what's going on. Then they have a clock if it becomes relevant. Elo, because of his involvement and because how Angmar was basically like, I'm gonna fucking take over the world. And it's just like, okay, Elo's a big player now. Is he actually going to betray Uplink? Like, and it's a thing, right? Like, everyone is out there for themselves in Cyberpunk. Everyone. And it was a lapse in judgment that I thought that he was on my side.
So I'm gonna.
Wow.
I just popped some stuff up. Okay, this is DM stuff.
Are you on the Roll20?
I'm on Roll20 right now.
Okay.
I'm popping stuff up. I'm showing to the players.
Yeah. You still gotta show up to class, goobers.
Oh shit.
It's the last day of school.
All right.
These are threats and MC moves. So the way that I look at it is every character that is constantly in the show, okay, a reoccurring NPC, any kind of character that makes it past walking past them and asking them a question has a clock.
Wow.
All of them.
Where is it at? Are you
just he?
Oh no, you should see handouts.
Yeah.
You
gotta show it
MC
to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's corporate moves. I mean, there's all kinds of shit. I had my own moves the whole time. So I make a move when a player.
You see how fucking brutal this system is.
I make a move when a player misses a move.
Wow.
When the players are waiting passively for something to happen, when the fiction demands it. My moves were show them the barrel of the gun, make their lives complicated now, put someone in a spot, inflict harm, just outright inflict harm, use up their resources, which I think I did a lot of, offer an opportunity with or without a cost. Again, I think I used that a lot. Tell them the requirements or consequences and ask, use a corporation, mission, or threat move. And then there were threat moves and
I just saw the fucking Cortex bomb. Implant a fucking Cortex bomb. God damn it. Unbelievable.
Can we know about that? Can we know about that story, Whack, or
the Cortex bomb?
I read if I'm not mistaken,
for the move. I just fucking did it.
Well, no. I mean, like that whole story there with Simon. If I'm not mistaken, you told Goobers that one night after season 1 or something.
I'll tell you what. Let's roll for it.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
All right, I'm gonna roll my physical dice.
We rolling 2d6 or
2d6.
d20?
2d6.
Fair enough.
On a 10 plus, I say everything.
Jesus Christ!
On a 7 to a 9, I give you some of the information.
Fuck yeah, but the fucking goddamn clocks go on.
Fuck.
We get fucked anyway.
I'm waiting for a 9 and some information and you get a bomb. Okay,
got an 8.
I get a bomb.
Okay. So partial information.
Jesus Christ!
I'm gonna need to start a fund to remove a Cortex bomb from my own head. Thank you. Now.
Okay, so partial information about the whole Simon Simon situation. Simon, for me, was the character that had the most problems to deal with. They had a very close connection to real life. Okay? That's the way that Goobers played him. And I think that it was important for me to play that up. I realized that immediately as soon as Goobers started playing his character. When I thought up the Cortex bomb, when I saw that as an option, because I read that when I first read through the book, and they've got a section that just says, yeah, why not just put a fucking Cortex bomb in them? It's like it's just like a sentence they just throw in there, you know, like, yeah, a Cortex bomb, just do it. It says something like that in the book. Yeah.
Okay.
And, I basically said, okay, a lot of this is improv. So I see the Cortex bomb option. I'm like, okay, Cortex bomb. Boop. And then I have to think of a way to make that relevant somehow. How can I connect it to what's going on? And I see that, you know, there's I wanted to include something with the Chimera Tech. They need to have a like fucking crazy ninja group, right? Like that is just like a bunch of, you know, they're a special ops team, right? They've got a fucking chameleon. They've got all these different kinds of people. And how am I going to make this work for Simon? So I thought, okay, what if his family stuff is him having a fantasy? What if the whole thing that happened with his family, all this stuff that he imagined was going on with his family, was a straight up drug-induced fantasy? I mean, we've got major depression problems going on in our society right now, as evidenced by the last week or so, just from the last week.
Fuck.
I mean, everybody deals with it. And what if they've got, crazier drugs in the future, which I assume they will?
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of side effect. There's got to be something that happens from that. It's not just heroin, it's fucking cyberpunk heroin. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I left it kind of open, and I won't say 100% what was fake and what was real, but I will say that there were parts that were real and parts that were fake for Simon.
Damn. Ooh. Okay, I had a good question. I want to hear Wax answer first. What was your favorite corporation? Keeping in line with the corporations that we're looking at already.
Okay, so I guess we got to look at season 2 because we had more.
Oh yeah.
So, my favorite. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I really liked Sensex for being a sort of way to inject some humor into the campaign.
That was fun.
And I really liked Uplink a lot. That ended up being the major focus of season 2. Was Uplink. For a reason. It was a cool alternative. I really fucking liked most of these corporations. I guess the ones that I didn't really like the most were kind of the ones that were a little bit more plain. You know what I mean? That didn't have a sort of hidden agenda that we really got to explore.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's shitty of me to say because I made them, but I liked Chimera Tech and U Plus a lot too.
U Plus was really cool. The whole the clones in the train station. That was really cool. I felt like as a player there, that was us actually doing well with the system there. That was really, really fun.
Yeah, that was good.
What about
But yeah, I'd say my favorite was probably Sensex. I just liked the sort of ray of humor into the campaign that I think we needed it.
Yeah.
If we didn't have Sensex, I'm thinking back, like there's so much stuff that wouldn't be in the game. Like a lot of funny things would not have happened.
Everything with the Elena bot.
Yeah, the Elena bot, the dick gun, the fucking money shot. Before that, like Boom taking the pill and becoming intelligent, meeting Monty because of that. Like that
Wax
was
just wants a sex bot. Who the fuck doesn't?
What? Why the fuck wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't
Are you kidding me?
I don't know who the hell that was in the background. I think it was Vio, but I just hear somebody in the background laughing.
But it was good timing. She's doing her own thing, so that was just cool.
Okay.
It's like, I'm sure there are a lot of wives that want one for their husband. Okay, just go with them for a minute. Okay, just leave me alone. Okay, just go. Man. Make her look like me. Just go.
Just take that thing out there. Just go. Just take it out there and just
take it out
go
in the
away
shed for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm not gonna lie. Who the fuck?
What about you, Dan?
I think it's a Machine Made Man is just near and dear to my heart for pretty obvious reasons, but it's probably taste. Again, for some of the comedy behind it.
I love the first mission we did in season 1. Like the first mission we did in season 1 was awesome.
That was really, really cool.
Was so good, man.
That was the foundation to Richard's hate of Jen. was the
was
taste
like
mission.
Was it the first episode of the second where like Mav immediately went in and
The first
immediately
thing
got
that she did in the
fucked?
game.
Immediately got
The
fucked.
first thing
that
that Mav
was
did in
so
the game.
fucking funny.
She was playing the fucking fixer, which is supposed to be the person that gets all the stuff for everybody,
Oh,
hooks everybody up, makes all the contacts. She didn't do any of that. She's like, I'm gonna go straight to the fucking mountain where this thing's supposed to be.
that was such
By
a
yourself?
funny scene.
I'm gonna go scout it.
Didn't we tell her to though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
you did.
that was our fault.
No, we told her to go. We told her to go do reconnaissance, not fucking
That's
get
true.
in trouble.
That's
and that
true.
was the big thing. It's just like
She went right in. Yeah.
exactly. We always had to be careful talking to Mav as far as like as far as like mission things goes, because what she would always do, and this is just Mav as a person, right? She goes, all right, this is what I'm being told to do. Now, how do I fuck with it and troll? Mav is a troll. Mav is always and forever at her heart and soul a troll. And she will fuck herself over to like unbelievable extents just to fuck with people. And it's like, no, you can't always. Okay, so we got to reel back our instructions, anticipate her to troll a little bit, and expect that to be within like acceptable ranges, you know? And we didn't know that at the beginning. So she just went out and she's like, I'm scouting. Now I'm going to go in. No, we didn't tell you to do that. Like, you know?
It was. I mean, to be fair, like, I drove a fucking van into an APC, so.
I mean,
We didn't think that would kill you, and then
realize-
you found out just
Jay, we
how
don't-
ruthless the system is.
Jay, we don't really need to talk about that.
Yeah, no, we don't. We talk about it every day. I'm reminded every day. It's Wack's favorite thing. Like, yeah, we die a lot. Well, maybe if you
I
didn't
need to
drive
make
a
a command
van.
in my channel.
What is it gonna be? You ever just drive a van into an APC? You guys ever do that? Just the once? Maybe?
Whenever I make like a bad decision, I need like a bad decision.
Called the APC.
Yeah.
The APC.
Well, at least you didn't drive a fucking SUV head first into an APC.
At least you didn't pull a boom. That's there it is. Oh my
So-
god.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yours is taste? Yeah.
I think taste. It just added a little bit of, pun intended, flavor to the world. Because I mean, it just add like it was just a side depth thing.
Yeah.
It didn't have a ton of, I mean, except for that first mission, it didn't have a ton of involvement, but it gave enough to like kind of go, okay, there's a corporation that takes place all the food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mine is Lance. Like, it's I don't know. I think it's I think the idea of a company that is like solely built to build weapons, and then like when you brought in, I think it became my favorite when you brought in the football league.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the idea, like the way that you described it, and you did it so well of the game. But I was just picturing the entire thing of like actual soldiers like running across a field and shooting the shit out of each other. I was imagining like incredible like twisted metal level of contraptions coming out of people and shit. And I was like, yeah, dude, Lance is pretty fucking dope. And they had a really big presence in the campaign. They were in the second season. They were really interesting to kind of go up against every time, because they added that the presence immediately of like more armor and more guns than we were used to. So we couldn't just
brute force it.
drive a van into an APC. We had to sneak around or something.
Jay, you made that company, right? I think you
I
made
don't
that
know.
company.
No, I made
You
I don't remember.
Lance.
Did I make Lance?
You made Lance.
Uh,
I think Pip made New Eden.
Closet narcissist. It makes sense.
I think we all have like
Oh,
an
what about yours,
attachment to.
Goobs?
Well, I think the thing is like, a favorite company is a hard question to answer when they're all trying to kill us.
It's true. What about you, Goobs? Did I make New Eden?
Jay made New Eden, Pip Lance. I think it was the other way around. I'm not sure.
Kit fucked with Lance. That was their mission against him, but man, someone chat will know eventually. Someone's gonna go back.
I just know that I was so happy when Nomadrix did the New Eden drugs, because
Oh my
I
God.
probably never would have thought of it. There were so many things going on all the time in this campaign for me
Wait.
to like think on. that I should have thought of that but didn't.
Wait, those weren't like drugs from in-game, like the playbook that you just pulled out?
No,
Are you fucking
Nomadrix
kidding me?
made those.
There was no Matrix?
Whoa!
Yeah.
Yo, thank you, no Matrix.
It was Nomadrix, right?
I
I'm
thought
pretty
you-
sure it was
I believe it. I believe so.
I
yeah.
thought you just pulled that out of the playbook.
No,
That is, and just, you know,
no.
was New Eden slapped on top of it. That is really cool.
That's awesome.
To be fair, I want to, like, the community around this show has been
Yeah,
let's
fucking
take a second to
incredible.
appreciate them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys have been unreal. Like, the amount of, I mean, we now have the running meme of checking or just asking chat because everyone is usually so helpful with looking through the VODs. Some of the fan art of this show has been fucking unreal.
I want you all to know. I want everyone to know.
Holy shit.
Super.
He's not here.
Yeah, he was
I
here
saw
very-
them.
He was here rarely.
Oh no,
Yeah,
Super
he
didn't
missed
watch
the
the last
last few.
episode, so
Yeah,
he
he
got
passed
out
That's fine.
right as we started.
The background of my phone has been your picture of my character since season 1. My right now it's Angmar, and before it was Simon, and I don't know what to do with my life now that's gone. So yep, Dan has it too.
Yep.
Like these are fucking amazing. So like that the fan art
Incredible.
guys
Yeah.
is just, and it doesn't like you like I want to make sure that you all know, like, just because Super is like, that's like they're extremely talented as like as a, you know, an artist, like all of the fan art is amazing. Like the fact that like Ellendale like makes all of this 3D art for the show, like,
Yeah,
which
that's-
is
of our
super
weapons,
badass.
That shit was
like
so cool. Yeah.
and then we had a whole bunch of people do like the logos for all the companies, and then early on in season 1, I loved that there were like people were doing like pencil and paper comics of like the interactions between like Boom and Voss, like pitching
Yeah.
a tent, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like that was
Drawing the
so
ficus.
great.
I forgot about that.
Somebody drew the ficus as well, Freddy the ficus.
Yeah, yes.
That was
Like-
that was great.
Like fan art in any sense, guys, is so appreciated, and it's so wonderful to see all of you guys. Like, oh my god.
It's one of the best things as creators that we can get when we, you know, I don't want to speak for everybody else here, but for myself, it's one of the things that makes me the happiest to do shows. When I have inspired somebody to be creative based on something that I have done, that is like the greatest compliment that I could ever receive. Like making like a campaign setting or whatever for D&D, and then having people go and play it and have their own adventures, or you know, make a corporation or a character or whatever that somebody loves so much that they have to draw it or they have to play as the character or whatever, it's staggering. It's staggering. And it's really wonderful, and I know I appreciate it deeply, and I know everybody else.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
seriously, guys, this has been, you guys, the Screamer crew has been
Amazing.
so good.
Yeah.
And you guys are like one of the best crews. Like, thank you for everything you guys have done. It's been so badass.
What do we call them after this? The bussers, the bussies,
We got plenty of time to
The-
think on that.
The bus drivers.
There was somebody mentioned the Adventures of Chaniolo and the aluminum turkey buzzard. That was I wanted to ask, this is okay, all right, thank God I got my thought back. That was my favorite moment of the campaign. It was that and then making Wack fall off his fucking chair laughing. But I want to know the chat and your guys' favorite moments of the campaign.
I think it's the ties to Wack falling out of his chair moment, which is my favorite. That you and I were able to hold it together.
That was
for some.
Wait, what was that?
That was
What was
the
that?
I want to explode inside him.
I want to explode
Oh,
inside you.
yes!
What was it?
Yes.
When I say I want to explode, I mean I want inside of you, or something. Or I mean inside
I want
of you.
to explode inside
Yeah.
him.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
fucking god!
And then it was just that
me
point where
just
like, and then it was just
over
like,
and
it was
over.
like, you got rejected. I was fucked up
You
because
got-
I got rejected or something.
And
And
then
then
we went
we're
and
both
cried.
sitting outside. Yeah, we just went and cried in the bathroom.
the
or
bathroom
something
got
like
really
that.
drunk right
Well,
before the
Yeah, we got
mission.
really drunk. Yes.
And Richard walks over to, I don't remember if it was Simon or someone else, like, I think Gerard wants to blow us all up.
You were telling that to Simon. Yeah, you were telling that to Simon.
Yeah.
That was such a good interaction.
Yeah, a lot of people. Jay hated Gerard, but like everybody fucking loved Gerard. Like he was the straight.
I love Gerard.
Oh man, he just got boring. Like eventually he got boring, and I mean, truthfully, I made him a puddle, right? I did not think that I had to put any depth into him. I was just like, he's gay. He's like really strict, and he's gonna be the pilot. That's it. 100. That was all I had to go on, and.
But honestly, though, like when coming up with the characters and things, and as far as like ones that can serve the most, like maybe this is just me, but I always feel like characters that have like a basic background, like a one sentence background, like motivation. Their back story is just like almost like nothing at all, but they have a concrete bit of motivation, and whatever that motivation is carries the rest of their story that is brought out improv as the story goes on. Turns out to be some of the best characters because it's all like shown naturally. You don't just shoehorn their backstory into wherever you can. It comes out naturally. It's created as the flow of the story goes. I always like those better, but maybe that's just me.
There were some fucking incredible organic moments that we've had with the cast of improv. You look like you want to point something out, Wack?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, the whole show was improv, so there's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I made missions and stuff, and the way that I would make the missions basically is I had a list of things that I needed to work out for every mission. I had important questions to answer, the mission breakdown, the title, who's it against, who is it for, where does the mission start, bad things that can happen on the mission, and then I had like directives, secret directives, important NPCs, resources, consequences,
wow.
And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of shit to kind of contemplate. I mean, that's what I do on all like the DM prep stuff. So as far as like improv on my end was, I guess, kind of like improv in the way that I just made like really basic outlines for stuff, and then I had to improv it from there. Because I think if you get too detailed, especially on a show with prep stuff, it loses something. You don't get that creative spark. When you improv, you're going to get a lot of moments that kind of fall flat, and you're going to get a lot of moments that you would never have thought of unless you were put into a difficult situation and you had to think of something on the fly.
Yeah. No, I mean, well said. Did you say your favorite moment, Wack, or no?
I didn't.
Do you want to, or?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. I think my favorite moment was probably the hotel scene with Pluton and Elena. When Elena sort of turned on everybody, that was probably my favorite moment.
That was...
Because everybody loved Elena. They wanted Elena, like...
Mm-hmm.
Like in every single show, they wanted her like to be 25% of every show, basically. And I was just such a happy moment that I got to just like just turn her around. That was great.
That was a fucking that was intense. I don't think I had. Did we go into that thinking she was gonna murder us or fuck us up in any, like, were we ever suspicious of her? I can't remember.
The only thing we were suspicious of is if Pluton fucked with her and it backfired on him.
Yep.
That was the only thing we were worried about.
Any of that. Yeah.
And we were like, that could be fine.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I'm gonna kill everything. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That would. Oh. I felt betrayed. Like, actually betrayed by you, Wack. Not even Elena. Like, I literally felt betrayed by you that night. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Well,
One good thing.
Jay, do you see the move there that I have?
No, I don't want to know about implanting Cortex bombs or turning...
I mean, the move where it says use up their resources?
Was Elena really a resource?
You can't... Well, Jay,
okay.
one of the things that you like to do in every role-playing game that you play is give you something ridiculous, and sit there like this, praying that the DM will give it to you.
Listen, Elena wasn't a resource. Elena was a friend.
She was our friend.
Friends are not resources. Wow.
Oh man. Okay.
They are in cyberpunk, Dan.
Someone, Poppool had a question for you a while ago, Goops. Did you want to answer that, or did you already? It was about the heroin.
No. Could you read that really quick one more time?
Poppool was talking about the heroin. He said, I wanted to know if that heroin addiction thing when you got fucked up in your apartment after the argument with Voss was something you had in mind from the get-go for your character, or if it was more of a in the heat of the moment kind of thing. And he said it was probably my favorite bit of RP in all of Neon Scream.
It was actually improv. Because it was prompted by Wax saying, what does your character do to vent steam or deal with stress? And Simon had major issues, like major emotional issues. He was a businessman. He was fine just doing his own job. Like he had an all right job, but he started taking these weird contracts and like he became kind of like a freelance kind of guy, and he started getting wrapped up with like, you know, old mercenaries, like, and people like, you know, Boom and Voss and Richard and all that stuff. And you know, he didn't need to do that. Like, he had a job. He was a corporate guy, you know, but something happened to him, which we still don't understand, by the way. His family, he thought his family died, and he thought he had, you know, all that stuff. But we found out later that right before he died that his family's alive, but he just left them, and something happened. He doesn't remember that. So as a result, like, emotionally as a human, he was, you know, a shell. On the outside, he was put together somewhat, you know, like he could carry a conversation. He was charismatic. He could discuss things with people, and he could speak the language of whatever he needed to. But on the inside, he was a fucking mess. He was an emotional mess. And so to say that, you know, as he realized that he would maybe try to reach out to, you know, somebody to get close to them, and that was the whole Voss thing, and when that got shot down, you know, to say that like that would just shatter his world yet again and cause him to do something as drastic as go to heroin is not a far stretch, like a you know, far-fetched thought. So yeah, you know, he was a fucked up individual, and his only escape from the major stresses of his life were through you know, life-shattering drugs. And so, you know, I have a very this is just me, but I have a very, very solid fascination with, I hate what's it called, Mary Sue's, right, where it's it's where a character
it's an idealized and seemingly perfect fictional character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they're never wrong. They've got no flaws. They're impervious. Right? Like, they're just perfect.
Brad.
What? Oh, okay.
Now Brad loves those characters. That's why Superman.
Oh, fuck you, Brad. Fuck you, Brad. They suck. All right.
Look, all right. They're supposed to be superheroes.
I don't care.
Superman is a god.
Superman. That's why Superman's boring.
Wow,
Superman's boring.
That was like spot the fuck on. Like if I close for a moment there at the end when you said God. I thought Brad came in.
The reason why, like, I have a huge, I hate those characters. I despise them. I think that they are boring. I think Superman is a boring character, and I'm much more a fan of somebody who's like, they have major flaws. They have incredible, like, debilitating flaws, And it might not work out for them in the end. They might be a tragic story. Just watch the fucking story of Jackal or Simon, right? But in the rare event that they overcome them because of the dice rolls or because of the story, and if that were to ever happen, that through the immense amount of flaws that they have, they overcome them and become something greater and bigger, it makes them one of the most memorable characters that you could ever experience. Because not only were they a character that was like, I have nothing to lose, but I'm also like broken as shit, but they became the hero. They became somebody who overcomes everything through unbelievable odds. Like I'd very much rather risk playing a character like that and failing and having them be a tragedy and still a good story rather than be a Mary Sue and the victory is kind of like, all right, like they were Mary Sue, they were gonna win anyway, you know? So with Simon, it was just like, let me take some risks. He's addicted to heroin. He's got this drive that he'll do anything for, which got him killed. And if he makes it through it, he'll be a legend. Or everyone will forget about him. And everyone forgot about him.
I loved Simon as a character. That was when you hit that, like when you're just like, yeah, I do heroin. I'm like, oh, that's that's heavy. Like, what do you do to blow off stress? Heroin.
Yeah. I think that was definitely my second favorite probably scene during the show.
I gotta say, as far as scenes go, like that was, and not to be like self-centered in the sense, but like how it was played as a group. The couple of scenes at Voss's apartment, transitioning over to the scene where I was Simon was in his apartment, you know, just high as fuck on heroin, was definitely my favorite. But it was because of how Wack took the time. He took the time to play it out and to just wring every little drop of atmosphere and context from the situation to show exactly, like everyone knows and could feel exactly what was happening in the situation. And it was shitty. It was a shitty situation, but it felt real. And I think that was one of the most well done situations and also with Boss's actions as a character and how she responded to certain things. It was just a team effort there. That was just, those are the moments that, like, even though that had nothing to do with the mission, those are the moments that define a campaign, that define a role-playing situation. And I live for those. And it was so well done. Like,
I think that for that exact reason is why I don't like the Sprawl as a system, because Jay said it earlier, like, well, fuck the backstory. This character's gonna die. It puts you into this mindset where I'd say percentage that your character's gonna die is something like 80%. There's like an 80% chance your character will die in this system. And it's really, really difficult to deal with that and create a character that has a lot of depth when you have that running in the back of your mind. And it's a detriment to the role-playing.
Especially if we need to have a show.
Again, I want to stress the fact that this system does not encourage the way that we played it. We ham-fisted that shit in there like you wouldn't believe. There's no role-playing moves in this system. There are none. All of the moves, all of them, are purely mechanical for missions. That's it.
Yeah.
Now,
and it's just because it's cyberpunk, and it wants to show you the brutality of the idea of what cyberpunk is designed to be. And because of that, it doesn't allow for, I mean, you think about it, there's a character's like, they're not supposed to RP. Everyone is a tool. And if everyone is a resource or a tool for each other, then Why RP? Why would there be any investment in characters? Because they're all going to die.
Yeah, I really got a feeling that like it was. Maybe sometimes it felt like we were actually supposed to be working together, but for like just reading through the playbooks, like going to make a new character, I kept looking at it like even after Boom died, and it kind of seems like it's supposed to be like supporting roles from far away, and you're not supposed to meet, like going with the no RP thing. Yep. I don't know.
It's the opposite of D&D in the sense of like don't split your party, right? In the Sprawl. Yeah. You better fucking split your party. You're all gonna die if you're all together. Somebody's just gonna go.
Much higher chance of death.
Yep.
For being together. Yeah. Much higher.
And somebody said, contrarily, Masks is almost 100% role-playing moves. Can you touch on that, Wack? Or
yeah, it's pretty accurate. I mean, so in this system, the role-playing is you say what you want to do and you do it. There's no real roles for it. Okay. I would it's not 100%. It's not.
I'm so excited for that.
It's a situation where in Masks, it's reversed. It's like, okay, you say the awesome superpower thing you want to do, and there is a move for that. And then you roll for it and you see how successful it is. But most of the moves are roleplay related.
Cool. Okay. So, awesome.
I would say it's probably like Masks is like, it's going to be very centered around your characters. So cool. Contrarily, here I think we had a very much a situation where you didn't want to expand on a backstory for your character because you knew that they were going to die. That one you're definitely going to have to plan it out. Yeah. And a lot of this episode 0 that we're going to have next week at 7 p.m. next week.
7 p.m. June 15th.
7 p.m. EST.
Yep.
No.
We're gonna do. No, you're correct.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the episode 0, and we're gonna talk a lot about that stuff. I've got questions that aren't necessarily in the book for the players to get asked to help develop their character. I want the players to know these things because I think they're going to be extremely helpful to know.
But we can't prepare our characters. Nope. Gotta do it on the fly.
Because chat is going to want to interact. They're going to want to sort of help with characters. And one thing that I want to stress is a lot of people, when they make D&D characters, they make their character because they just straight up want to play it, regardless of what's happening in the group. And I think that it should be a group experience. It should be a group experience. You guys should bounce ideas. I always am of the opinion, when I make a character now for a role-playing game, you should come into it with like 3 characters that are somewhat like you have an idea for what you want to do. 3 characters. Don't go crazy in depth on one character. I have players that still do that. It still happens, but I try to discourage it because what happens if you have another person that had the same plan? Somebody's getting fucked.
Nothing goes according to plan. Oh my God.
Somebody's getting fucked. You know, somebody is going to play that character and then the other person is not. So don't come into this with this rock solid idea of a character that you want to play, because there are templates. What happens if it's very, very unlikely, because I think there's like 16 different playbooks or something. But what happens if everybody picks the same fucking one? It can happen. Oh, I'm playing a legacy. Oh, you're playing a legacy? I wanted to play a legacy. Oh, for real? I wanted to play a legacy. Like, what happens? Yeah. You're all fucked.
Oh, yep. Well, let's see next week.
We'll see. So, I think it's probably about that time where we start talking about some of the end stuff.
Yeah. This is where Wack's like, let me get out the book.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. I just got to take off my sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Don't mind me.
Hold on.
Don't mind me and my shirt, Wack. Don't mind it at all, Wack. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's cool, man. Everything's cool.
Goobers, do you want to start us off with this port?
My cat is fucking with me. One sec. Keep going.
Do you want to start this part off, Goobers? Did you have a question for me?
Was there any way that I could have avoided that?
That you could have avoided the death?
Angmar's death?
So here's the thing. Elo was always going to double cross. Okay? That was always Elo was always going to double cross. The severity of how he was going to double cross would have changed. As I revealed after we ran the last session, the countdown clocks for Elo and the countdown clocks for downlink were maxed out. A lot of the times when you guys would fail a roll and you'd see like no clocks going up, it was because those were advancing.
I was watching those.
Yeah.
Those were hidden.
I was always watching to try and see, and I never saw it move. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Not neat.
Yeah. One of the things that I decided, because the first season I hid some stuff too, but a lot of stuff you guys saw and you reacted to it too much. It was metagamey. And it is what it is. It's a situation where it's like, of course, we fucked up, but one of the greatest compliments that I get in the channel, the very first quote for the Table Story channel is the way that I say, okay.
Fucking terrifying. It's so scary.
I hate it.
It's so
awful.
Scary.
Okay.
Oh my god. Fuck's sakes.
That's the best.
We really, you need an emote.
Dust fail.
You need an emote where it's just like you doing this, like.
Okay. Oh,
okay.
We, I mean, hey, if we get partner, maybe
whack,
we'll get
whack.
one of those
Okay,
stuff,
or Table Story.
Little
Okay.
whack smirk, yeah. We were talking about that on fucking Dustville. Brad was saying that in Nameless Ones, he'll be like, "Can you all roll perception checks?" And then like they'll all roll, and he'll be like, "Okay," and then just be like, "All right, what do you guys do?" This is so scary, man.
Just ghost rolls in general, man. Even if nothing happens from them, ghost rolls cause a brutal dynamic shift in how you do things as a player, because you're just like, what? Is he doing something? Okay, now I'm on alert. Like, and it could just be a ghost roll in the sense of just like let me see what they're doing here. Let me see how they react to this.
The reason that I adopted that, because I didn't always do that, was because I heard it from several people that the most terrifying thing that happens in a campaign is that when you get the ghost roll, when you get the nothing happened, even though something bad clearly happened. That was the most terrifying thing. I said, well, I have to do that. That's the thing that I have to incorporate.
I was like, this has been the missing page from the Necronomicon the entire time.
My goal whenever I do a campaign, okay, is that I want to make people feel intense emotions. I don't care what the emotions are. I don't care. I want them to be invested in the campaign, and I want them to feel emotions. My proudest moment as a DM in Blood and Mist is that I got 3 people to cry at different points in the campaign. One was for I got 2 people to cry for sentimental reasons, because it was just an emotional kind of thing. Another was just at the end of the campaign, and it was another sort of sentimental thing. That was fantastic. They cared that much about a campaign that they were so emotionally invested in the things that they cried. That was amazing. So whatever I can do to help those emotions come out is good.
I will say, I think Silver said it, and I've seen like 2 other kind of fractions of the same saying. Like, with going back to the Sprawl as a system, with as brutal as it was, I think Silver straight up said, like, probably wouldn't have watched if it was more mechanical. Like, I think us getting the role playing out was because of your DMing. So thank you for creating such a fucking world, and people like characters like Monty and fucking Pluton and just making literally everything feel real. Especially for these fuckos. Like the "Where's the Meat" fucko was the greatest fucking thing I have ever heard come out. Jesus, like that started so many memes, and I can't remember who said it in the chat, but they said props to us for keeping it light despite the system being so heavy. And again, I think Wack set the precedence for that with some of the characters and the way that he let us do things, and just the fucking upload, the download, the where's the fucking meat. Oh my god.
Absolutely. And okay, god. So like and personally to bounce off that personally, like I have a tendency in my role playing to get real fucking serious. Like my first RP character was Jackal, and he started out as this goofy ass character, but then he became one of the fucking most painful, tragic characters ever, and his story became so serious. And then I started with Neon, and Simon was really serious, and then Angmar was really serious, you know. And all of these things, like, I have a tendency to keep going that serious route, but people bring in lighthearted elements to it that add so much depth and cause me to change it up and make me react potentially in a funny way, or a serious way or caring way, whatever, like in different ways. And I think that's one of the things that this group is just like so good, is that like we're not afraid to drop a dick joke every once in a while, but at the same time we're dealing with things like, you know, addiction, loss of humanity, you know, an understanding of who we are, kind of things like this. Like, we can do all of these things together, and that's what the composition of this group is. And that's why most of us are staying together for this next round, is because we got a good chemistry here. You know, we got real good chemistry here.
Yeah,
so.
Oh, Wack, you look like you're about to say something. No, I just...
I've been talking too much. Go.
I feel like I'm talking too much. The memes from this fucking show have been incredible. They have been, and I again, going back to, I appreciate that this was such a light campaign in spite of everything that happened. I am so excited for Identity Crisis because of this group. Like, our role play, I think, is pretty damn good. And Wack is a fucking great DM, and then we have a system, I think, where we can flourish in with this, and I think it's great. Somebody also asked earlier, do we think this would have gone easier if it was a... they said modern day 5e, but I like just straight. I at one point thought this might have gone easier if we did it in a D&D campaign, but I actually don't think D&D maybe might have been good for this. Like, I'm glad we did the Sprawl and are now moving into masks. I'm glad this wasn't a D&D campaign either.
You know, we never actually got Dan's favorite moment. I was actually curious about that. We did?
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment?
It was the same as Jay's.
The exploding inside.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Specifically how specifically how both Jay and I kept it together.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Right until the end. Right until
the end. And once we were done, then we're all like, all right, we're gonna go fight, die for a moment.
Yeah. And yeah, this using Thorn in the chat, this using D&D rules, I don't think would have gone as well. There wouldn't have been as much at stake. Some things would have been way more lax or more mediocre. The fact that, like, every time we were rolling, it quite literally felt like our character was going to live or fucking die. I think that was a great part of the system.
I've never played a system where every roll feels like it could be your last.
Yeah, that was a really interesting, and that's why, like, I didn't mind the system eventually after Wack, you kind of dumbed it down for us and made it a little easier, but B, when we kind of started to get a grip on it, like that first mission at the beginning of season 2, when we really, like, we felt like we were good there, and then even our last mission that we did, like, we I think did really well in the prep. Like you said, Wack, we did as much as we could have done. I think we kind of got the hang of it there. But
and then
fuck academic pressure.
You have a couple bad rolls, and
it all goes to shit.
I mean, that's what the system does. The chances of everybody rolling successes are so minuscule that it's guaranteed for there to be a problem, and that's the fun, right? Like, there's supposed to be a problem. My thinking with the Sprawl is, I wish that there were RP moves. I feel like that would offset a lot of the way that stuff is done in the game. That's my only real thinking. I still wouldn't have picked it, even if it had role-playing moves. I would have checked out the Veil or probably some other system. If I played a hack of Shadowrun. It was a hack of Dungeon World that basically used the Shadowrun setting and used Dungeon World as the base. So it was powered by the Apocalypse system, but it was a Shadowrun type of setting, and it had the 2d6 system, the Powered by the Apocalypse. So it was good. I enjoyed that a lot, and I don't know. Like I watched some of Adam Koebel's group play, and I think when I first saw it, I was like of the opinion that I think we can change this a little bit. We can probably change it. They went in there with a very, let's stick to the rules. Let's do these missions. Let's bang them out and get them done. I thought if we changed it a little bit that it wouldn't be so brutal, but it's still the Sprawl. It's still incredibly brutal.
That's a great question from Nematrix going into it again. I love how this is a lot of discussion about the system. That's really cool. If we could change Act Under Pressure, what would we change?
I would just make the person. I'll just jump in. The partial success down 1 or 2.
Just 1.
Even 1.
I make it an 8.
Make it a 9 or higher.
I make it a fucking 8. Easy. Like just 8 is the partial success. That's what I would do.
You can't do that in the Apocalypse World setting. That's the Powered by the Apocalypse engine.
Yeah.
We understand it's more of a if you could change anything, that's what I would do.
Right.
Understand why, but
well, I guess maybe are you saying Wack like that's the foundation and like what
that is the foundation for the Apocalypse World setting. Yeah. 6 is a fail, 7 and 9 is a partial success, 10 is a complete success.
So then maybe having that partial success be less brutal.
Yes, right. It's a lot of times it felt like if we rolled between a 7 to 9, it was worse than a full out fail.
Right. And that's a lot on me. Because I have to improv what happens when you fail. And when you're forced into that mindset, I'm actually under more pressure than you guys are.
I don't
when that move happens.
Yeah.
Because I have to figure out something that's going to qualify in that area. Okay? And how can I make it fair? And it's incredibly hard.
Yeah.
It is so difficult to come up with that move. And I got news for you. That move is what defines this entire game. That move, Act Under Pressure, is the definition of the Sprawl. If you change that move, you have now changed the whole game. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I can understand that.
We don't like it
because that's a large feeding point of points into the clocks on the counter, right?
Yep.
And also the presence of your consequences and everything. Yeah, I can totally understand that. Yeah. That's interesting.
So I want to talk a little bit more about some of the ending stuff because I don't want to go too late with this because we could go for more. We can go for like hours and hours. And I think it's better if we kind of keep it like short and sweet. I want to answer a few questions. I got a question. How many extra rewards did the cast miss in the Caliphant mission, the very first mission? Was there special gear or treasure that they could pick up? I have to dip into the old mission notes. I gotta find those. I don't remember. In general, a lot of gear was up to the players to decide. One of the things that I would argue that you guys didn't take advantage of enough is getting yourselves better shit. As far as gear goes, you guys went a very sort of direct route. I want this key card to get into this building. I want this specific mission thing. I want a fucking bazooka. Was never said.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that might be one of my other complaints about the system is so when you're jumping into a very brutal system that tries to kill you at the time and you go, okay, well, what can I do? And they go, you can have intel or gear. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. What does that do? Whatever you want.
Yeah, and that was always like where's the line? They
and so
don't
and
do a good job of
when
specifying.
you're given everything, it's very difficult to decide on what's actually useful.
I'm sure they had suggestions in the.
It's such an interesting thing to think about. But I don't have that fence. How am I supposed to know where I can?
But I mean, really, like,
no, you can
really,
just run. You can just run.
I mean,
But
I
there's
think
no
for me, a lot of it, like, I'm used to, like, I think D&D too, where it's like, roll. Okay, what happens? All right. Oh, was it a 14? This is probably not as good. All right, I'll just take what I can get.
It's a
And
reverse.
it's take what you can get, and then it's like, hey, you have all the freedom in the world. Like when you said in this system, at first you do whatever you want, right? And it was like, well, what? Well, what is that? Wait,
the actions are reversed, right?
Yeah.
In D&D, you roll and then you find out the result. In this system, you say what you want to do and then you roll to see if it succeeds.
And I think honestly that it is
difficult for you.
Well, that part wasn't so bad, but again, with like gear and intel, a lot of time it's just you have this, whereas everything else, like, I have to do something for it. So now it's like, you have this. Okay, well, I don't have a lot of direction on how I want to use this.
Yeah.
Or you just don't have, like, I had intel and gear at the very end of the last mission. I didn't have any opportunity to use it. Now, that's just how it worked out, and we were time constrained a little because it was the last session, but it was still kind of a, like, I'm stuck at a front desk. Okay, what do I do with this? And so, like, I could be like, I have a bazooka. Okay, well, how did you get that? Well, I had it. Well, but you had to go through security. How do you have? So, like,
well, you didn't see, but you didn't go through the security checkpoint. You just
I know, but it's still one of those. It's again still one of those, like, what would I have used that for? So it's hard at times when you have no limitations.
Yeah.
It makes the human mind just a hard time at times deciding
really hard
anything.
for that. When going through and getting intel, and then, like, when I was like, I have gear, it was so hard because I got so much intel and so much gear. It was just, I felt like I was cheating. It felt like fucking cheating. It was like, I have the key card to that. I know where that is. Of course I know where that is. Yeah. And then Wack, you're just like, yeah, you know. Yeah, you can go through it. Yeah. There were so many yeses. I was like, I'm cheating. Something is going wrong. And I think Rob and Dan said it best in the chat too, that limitations spur creativity. I enjoyed that about other systems, about you know, like, there's a ceiling, but how is there like a set of stairs I can create to get above it? Or
I feel like the better something is, the more likely Wack will take it away. That's absolutely true. I showed them my moves. I had a move. That was take it away.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, like, for, like, even for Richard, where I was like, I want to make key cards with this thing with gear. And we had a good conversation after this too. But I think that was one of the things where I felt like you're like, no, you can only do so much with this. And I was like, well, fuck, then what is the point of the gear then? So there was a limitation there. And we had a really good off-camera discussion about that. And me trying to figure out, how can I use this? Because when I try to use it, then I'm told no. So I don't know. I think it's another one of the reasons I just wasn't terribly happy with the Sprawl itself.
Again, and I agree with you on this. So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact that so many of the moves were mechanically based on the mission, but the powered by the Apocalypse engine itself is a system that doesn't give you a shit ton of rules is almost contradictory, right? Because you get this sort of, okay, here's your playbook, here are your moves, but they're very open-ended, very, very, very vague and open-ended, right? And you're trying to do a mission that's very specific. I have a specific role that I'm trying to play in this mission. It's difficult to switch gears. It is. I am getting used to it because now I've played a few of these Powered by the Apocalypse games, and I'm getting used to it. I think that depending on your background with role-playing games, Dan, you started with Pathfinder and D&D 3.5, is that correct?
3 and then 3.5 and then 3.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Dan started in a very rule set heavy environment. Goobers started with his BattleTech art role playing, right? You started with
literally just as homebrew can be.
Yeah. So that was a super weird system because you didn't really have a rule book, right?
No.
Yeah.
Nope. We just did things. We said like, and I pushed Tyler. Like I pushed things as much as I could, but basically like the mechs would be, I want to take and pick up a mech with my mech and grab the head and lift it. You can't do that in BattleTech. But the GM was just like really cool, so I pushed that as far as I could. So yeah.
Yeah. And Jay, you started with 5e, right?
Yeah. I feel like I played a stupid like one-off RPG before that, but 5e was the first system I got into. Yeah.
So I come from Pathfinder was my very first, and I played probably 30 sessions of that. So that was my foundation. So mine, Dan's is similar. Now, where Dan thrives in a very mechanics heavy, Dan is sort of a min-maxer. He's got that kind of mentality. He likes the numbers. He likes to think about like, this is my system. Now, how am I going to fucking destroy it? Like that is, I think, the way that Dan goes into it. I don't think that way. So Pathfinder wasn't really a fit for me. And then when 5e came out, I was like, oh, this is great. It's vague and I can do a lot more stuff. And
I would say, hilariously enough, that's not actually how I play. I love dump stats to fuck with me so I can do role playing.
Okay.
I hate
fair enough.
But I still love the rules and fucking with it, destroying it so I can RP better.
The more
I love the rules for it.
The more I can disregard a rule book, the happier I am.
Yeah, see, that's not.
Yeah, that's why I love. That's why I started playing 5e. I was like, oh, it's vague as fuck, and I almost got into 3.5 like a couple years earlier, but I heard that there were fucking rules and math and numbers, and I was like, I'm an idiot. No, thank you.
I wanted to play,
and then Dan convinced me to play fucking Starfinder, and I'm just like,
I'm the one that told him to do that because I know how much he'd love it.
Blame Wack for that one. I totally bought it entirely because of him.
Yeah.
So far, it's been a great system though, so I can't complain.
But yeah, it's 5e was always that kind of like it's that kind of magic space for me where they have a whole section devoted purely on information about the races and the characters and backgrounds, and the rules section is like this big, Yes, they have the reference there for spells and things like that, but the rules are like that big. It's, you got advantage, you don't have advantage, you got a disadvantage,
yeah,
you got inspiration, you got, some minor rules here and there. I mean, you don't have to worry about it. So it was just kind of like a, it was a fit. And then this system is a break, from all of that. It's a very vague kind of system, which, depending on how it's done, works better than other times. If you play Apocalypse World, the origin of all of these, I'm still convinced, I think, Goobers, that you'd fucking love that specific system and setting so goddamn much.
Yeah.
I think you would thrive in it.
And the few times that I've talked to these guys about how I don't know how serious I am about it. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but the idea of me trying to be a GM for a system, every time I bring that up, Wax just like Apocalypse World, Apocalypse World, Apocalypse World, Apocalypse World.
Dude, Angmar felt like he was like straight out of something from Apocalypse World.
You don't have to die when you die. You can just say, I'm not going to die. I'm switching playbooks with this character. That's one. You have options for when you die. One of them is you die. It's just the character's dead. That's one option you can take. Another option is you do another playbook. Another option is you dump some stats. So you get a choice of how you die, and that's up to you.
See, I'm so fucked up. I just kill everyone.
Yeah. So, Poppool, I see your question, but there's a few things that I want to touch on as well.
I do have one end story question to ask about as well.
So I want to answer this one. Whack, were there any plot points or puzzles that the group bumbled through, avoided, that stick out to you? I don't think that there were any that the group just managed to bypass completely. A lot of it's based on roles, right? I think, honestly, this last mission, they managed to sort of bypass a lot of stuff in general. In the sort of preparation part, they bypassed a lot of shit. That went way faster than I thought it was going to go. Way faster. There was going to be a lot more stuff in regards to Nakamura. I wanted to play that up a little bit more and make the U+ connection a little bit deeper. At that point, though, I was getting really burnt out with this system. And I felt like everybody else was too. It was like a burnout, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually really glad that they just kind of blew through a lot of this stuff, because even though there was potential for really good content there, whenever everybody's getting burnt out, just move on.
Yeah.
You guys just move on. Like, don't try to force it through. It's a game. It's a game. It's supposed to be enjoyable. Okay? If you have to force yourself to go to a session, force yourself to play it, you're not having a good time. Don't do it. Why are you doing it?
And that reflects on the table too.
Yeah. It's like I watch streamers on Twitch, and I'm like, why are you playing this game that you obviously fucking hate?
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch people grind out MMR in a game, and they're just yelling the whole time, and they fucking hate it. Why? Why are you killing yourself? This is what depression is. Like,
it's a physical manifestation right there.
Physical manifestation of depression. Like,
fast
why?
track to being depressed.
Don't do that. It's a game. And absolutely, the audience picks up on it. So
you guys aren't stupid. You can
if
tell.
we've got a great chemistry here, right? So okay, let's just switch the game. It's time to switch the game.
Yep.
Instead of going the super dark route, let's go a lighthearted route, which is why we're going with Mask. And it's one that I really wanted to play. I've had the game for over a year, and it's just been sitting there. And I've been dying to play it.
Sorry, will this be like your first lighthearted campaign, Whack? Like, not from the get-go, the foundation? Because I know there are lighthearted moments in a lot of the campaigns you run, but
not really. I mean, technically, the Warped campaign that we just started is really silly. That's the silliest campaign I've ever done.
Show is fucking hilarious. Everyone should watch it Saturdays. It's fucking funny.
It's super silly. We basically combine the Orville plus Futurama plus Star Trek. It's extra silly. And I guess that is kind of the first really silly one that I'm doing. I get people that like to play stupid characters in a lot of my campaigns. And I'm never a fan of when you get a person that wants to just play a really stupid character. Their only goal is to play a meme immediately in a campaign that's not set up for that. I have an issue with that. That's like a personal jibe at me, generally, is the way that I look at it. Like, why? I told you what the campaign's about. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Don't do it. Don't come into my campaign that I tell you is supposed to be this and just fuck it all up. Something that I've built and worked on. That's not okay. So I have problems with that. I'd rather people just don't play. Like, if you don't want to play it, then just tell me you don't want to play it. That's fine. My feelings aren't going to get hurt. It is what it is. How many fucking people do you think I've had to go through for all of the shows that I've done? Jesus fucking Christ. I had a show where I had to get people every week to be on the show. I did a randomized D&D show. I randomed the entire show. I randomed it. And the players randomed their characters before the show. Dan is gonna.
Why?
Remember we talked just a moment ago about the fast track to depression, guys. Remember these? All right.
Because if you want to see the pinnacle of great improv, you will do that.
And you'll also see the lowest of bad improv. You get both spectrums there. Be like, man, this is a great group, and then, oh my god, I want to pull every hair follicle out of my body.
It's like a comedy club on Fridays. You just never know what you're gonna get.
But legit, the worst part about that was just getting the people together, getting 5 or 6 people together every fucking week.
That's the part that would make me want to pull my hair out.
The worst part of being a DM.
The worst.
Every other part is
not even close. If you take your lowest moment as a DM, your lowest, whatever it may be, okay? Let me fucking tell you, dealing with everybody's schedules for a fucking show on a regular show is.
I don't know how you put up with it, dude. I don't know how you put up with it.
When
like streamers in general, like we have to fucking be everywhere. We have to cancel. We're all over the fucking place, and like I that's one of the big reasons why I'm not super like, let's try to do it, because I'm not dealing with that shit. I don't deal with that shit, people. You can't be there. You're fucking out. Like I'm an asshole like that, but like kudos to you, man, for just putting up with that shit, because we have to do that. We have to go to cons. We have to be at certain things. We have to miss. And even like Dan, with our Starfinder thing, like even then, like we are streamers, a chunk of us are streamers, but the other part of it is just life gets in the way sometimes, right?
The difference between show versus table game is a big one. It's a big one. Obviously you want to have the story there for the table, but when you're performing on a show, there's a lot more pressure to make something. I think when you're at the table, there's this kind of informal agreement, right? It's like, yeah, they couldn't make it. Oh, well, that's shitty. All right, well, I guess we'll have to play around it. You can kind of figure that out. It sucks. It might be shitty and inconvenient, but it's not going to break your session in general. On the show, it's brutal, and I'll have to play a character. My absolute limit is to try and play one person. Doing 2 people is rough. I have done it. It's very tough.
And that's especially like what you said to go on that, or to carry on with that, like when you have a show and then like the story has stopped halfway through something, and then it's a week later and you have to explain as to why someone's not there, then it's like, do I cancel? Do I just keep it going? And it's a slippery slope, man.
Whenever it's in person, what I would do is just be like, you were sick and you just followed around with the flu and you didn't talk and you did nothing, and you got nothing from that session.
Guarantee you none of the players are going to care.
Yeah. They're just a lot of the time they won't.
They're going to be like, oh yeah, so-and-so was having a baby. I wanted to go to the hospital and wish them well and blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's nice. Blah, blah, blah. Because it's a friendly thing. But we're doing a show.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. They're like, whoa, what, like that. You get that kind of stuttering, behavior.
Well, 5 other people are scheduling something in that they could have been doing something else with their time.
Yeah.
Right.
And those cancellations have ripples, especially if it's last minute versus.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be gone. All right. Okay. We'll have to.
That's totally. Yeah. That's why Brad and I started to do the one shots. So if a player misses a session, if it's planned, we do a one shot. And then I, for my old campaign, was also planning one shots. If there was like an emergency, someone missed, like, all right, here you go. Like, this is a thing in the back history of the campaign, because it fucking blows to take 2 weeks off a show, like, or a week off. Like, there was a time where we didn't play for 3 weeks, and that was fucking, that sucks so much.
Can't remember anything that happens. It's rough.
Yeah. And I mean, as a DM too, like I've gone through that, not playing. There was a time in Ilios we didn't play for 2 months, and I came back and only 2 hours had passed in game, but 2 months had passed IRL, and I'd forgotten everything. It's Wack. Tell us about the end of the campaign.
Well, no, Goobers, I want you ask your question first.
So, mine was actually about the end of Simon's story.
Okay. Hopefully, I didn't answer this when you got up to take a piss or whatever it is you went to do.
Was about the family?
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, then I missed that. Okay, then we can
rolled
talk about
for it.
Did you have any idea of what you wanted to do as far as like?
Oh yeah,
where it
yeah.
was?
I revealed part. What I did was I rolled a 2d6 in the spirit of the system, and I said if it was a 10 plus, I would say everything, and if it was a partial success, I'd reveal some stuff, and if it was a fail, then I would reveal nothing.
Oh, okay.
So what I said was that part of it happened and part of it didn't.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Is what
I did have another question. That's totally fine. I did have another question about that, which was if I asked for if things went right,
can be shown on the screen before TOS.
Before TOS. Don't worry, I got a lot on my stream today, so if I get banned, then we know.
The final mission in season 2 with Elo, had things gone right, had things kept moving, had we rolled well enough to get everyone through and stuff like that, and then I asked Elo, like as things were ending or whatever, we did things, and I asked Elo to send the call out to get all of Uplink to converge on the elevator. Would he have done it?
So, by that time, the clock was already red. Okay, Elo's clock was already red. Downlink's was not. Downlink's got red on that last mission. I would say that no, I probably would have made Elo betray you at that point. He was always going to betray, but how he did it was in flux. And since Downlink went full red on there, my thinking was that's what would have happened.
Compared to,
go ahead,
I was gonna say, compared to if he had like rolled 10 or higher on that, that contact roll that hit the streets, right? The last talk with Elo might not have been, I'll betray you, but maybe not blow you the hell up without any chance of doing anything. Kind of.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, I rushed through that last bit. We were already an hour over, and we are restricted by time constraints. It is what it is. There's only so much.
It was 5 a.m. when we ended.
Like I said, I had no idea how you were gonna end it. Like,
yeah.
And I believe Bobby now. I believe him.
The only question that I had, aside from that, was, with the downlink thing, like, so, like, okay, so when the clocks are up, the definition of that is that I thought that they were aware of you.
No,
but
no.
But it's that it's negative.
I think it is
always
there.
On.
Is how
Wait a
Wack
minute.
explained it.
Okay, let's all
Not
right.
that I'm arguing
There's
the rules,
a few
but
things. Let me make you guys okay. Here we go.
Ow.
Let's unhide a couple more things.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh
So,
no. What
yeah.
are these?
So these are what happens when it reaches certain stages of the clock.
That the 0 makes sense as to why Richard got fucking nuked that one time. Was that like an immediate thing that he just?
Yep.
Yeah. That's
So yeah,
Overwhelming
this is
excessive
an
force.
example. This is the legwork seeker clock. This is the action seeker clock. That's going on here. So I let you guys see the alerts for the legwork and the action. But yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Damn, son.
wow. Yeah, the target deploys overwhelming excessive force. That is fucking.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that was.
Wow.
That is exactly what. See, and this is why this system is just like, fuck you. Fuck you. I would say, like, I hope that I don't know if anybody's seen a harder system or not, but like this system is just the definition of fucking brutality.
I think Odious.
This is RP. This is tabletop RP hard mode.
Odious was pretty spot on. Said this is it felt like a cyberpunk Tomb of Horrors, or Tomb of Annihilation. I felt like that was pretty spot on.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, the big burning question, and I guess we'll do like a one final question kind of thing after this to wrap things up. But the big final question: Whack, had everything gone according to Goober's plan and everything didn't quite literally blow up, what do you think the repercussions of his endgame plan would have been? Now, this is a multi-part question because there's also some other stuff that I do want to reveal. That's the most cyberpunk way that I could imagine to finish the campaign. And if people were there for the DM prep and they saw this, there was a mega spoiler for the DM prep. If everything went according to plan and you managed to succeed, and let's say Elo's clock wasn't maxed out, I think number one, Elo's feelings were he was definitely going to kill some of the other PCs for sure. He was definitely killing Susan. Susan was dead in Elo's mind. The only reason that Susan survived at the very end and Elo didn't kill her is because she rolled a fucking like 12 or some shit.
That's why I was so mad. I was so mad.
100%.
I still have the GIF. Oh my god.
100%. As soon as she walked through the door, Elo was chopping her fucking head off. She was dead. That was happening.
The 12 to Angelo, right?
Yeah, basically
it was Angelo saying you get to live. That was the only reason.
Yeah. That was it. That was the only reason. 100% Elo would have killed her. 100%.
So mad.
I think the only other sort of tense relationship was with Siren. He might have killed Siren right away too.
Yeah.
But let's say that somehow Elo didn't fuck everything up. Angmar survives. Everybody succeeds. Kit and Elbereth do their jobs well. Magic happens and well. Jen somehow dies. Okay. Let's see. Even though she was immortal. What would have happened basically is that I think I would have raised Angmar up to one of the executives, probably to Uplink.
Ooh.
And Elo, one of the things that I'm sad I didn't really have enough time to do that I did want to do, and I thought about it after the fact, and I was really upset that I didn't do it. I wanted Elo to graduate to whip. I wanted to kind of have I wanted to have the last scene as Elo like reveals this fucking whip and takes fucking Susan's head. Like that was the thing that I wanted to do. That was the thing that I wanted to do.
That would have been cool.
Like, that Elo was the new whip, and like, Arthur becomes his new goon. That was the thing that I wanted to do that I didn't really. It was a time issue. It was Susan just rolled a fucking 12 or whatever it was, kind of thing, and it just didn't. I was upset that I didn't get to do that.
Damn.
But that was the plan. It was like Elo was going to graduate to the whip. And I was going to play up like maybe he gets a scar or something, like so his jaw's all fucked up too. Like, and it's just a progression. But Elo was my favorite NPC by far. I loved Elo so much.
He was great.
To play him was great. I think that playing that sort of intelligent psychopath is a really sort of fun one to play, which is why I like Monty too, and I think why people like Monty. He's kind of like an intelligent, crazy person, Yeah. Those are interesting characters.
Insane, not stupid. Yeah.
And then the very ultimate fuck up cyberpunk ending with the space elevator is that space travel is all a fabrication, in that essentially all of the off-world stuff is non-existent. It was intent The intent was that it's all fabricated. This is the way that the megacorps get rid of their executives.
Like
they work their whole lives basically to pay for this ridiculously expensive thing, shoot themselves into space.
Wow.
And there's just fucking nothing there. When the space elevator goes up, I was gonna have Pip's hacker stuff see that and be like, wait, what the fuck is this? And she's got the fucking camera basically on the space station out in space, and it's just like a fucking graveyard of like dead shuttles and shit.
So
out
it's like
in the middle of nowhere.
It's like building a tower in Roller Coaster Tycoon. They just like out of the tube and they go off.
Yep. You've outlived your worth, and we're going to send you to space for a good life away.
That's some like the island.
The executives are all invested on the stuff that's on the planet because they could just. It was a time thing. There's no way that they're going to be able to figure all this shit out before the solar flare gets there. So they have to be. They have to be actually focused on what's happening here and use their best options to make that happen.
Good God, that's awesome.
Wow. Do you have any other like spoilers? Anything that like you wished that we would have touched on? Anything that like we kind of hit but we never scratched as much as that you wanted?
Did you think about anything as far as the arc goes and how that played into it? And like, was there any?
I didn't really get enough time to think about that. I mean, in terms of like, my first thoughts were definitely that I was gonna fuck with all of those "we're safe from the solar flare" things, because that's what you do in the system. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I didn't really go into a lot of depth with that. My big depth thing was this. This was going to be my big thing, and it was a sort of natural conclusion for the campaign anyway.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Wack, which isn't related to that so much. If I want to slightly shift gear, just because it's always curious. I always love this question for DMs.
Sure.
How pissed were you that both Voss and Richard got away, if at all?
I wasn't, not at all.
Okay.
I don't think anybody was pissed. Yeah.
No, sometimes DMs are like, like, I mean, you've all seen a DM where it's like, I have this, I want you to fail.
Pissed.
So
I was pissed.
So here's a common misconception about me, okay? Because
this is also a good lead-in.
I'm the GM, DM of Doom, MC of Doom, whatever you want to call me. That I like to kill characters. I hate killing characters so much. I hate it. I hate it so goddamn much. But the distinction here is I'm not afraid to do it, and I understand the necessity of doing it. That's the difference. I am not, if I feel like it has to be done, then it has to be done. I don't like to do it. You think that I like replanning a fucking story? You think that I like fucking coming up with all this new shit? Well, fuck, we were down this path. It was going real nice. The path was nice. There were flowers and they're fucking nice, pretty trees. And now
it's a bomb.
It's a fucking nuclear bomb has gone off and everything is fucking flattened. I don't like that. That's not good. That doesn't help me. I just have a new pile of work that I have to do. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Simon went alone into an underground bunker. That seems like a good idea.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Like, that's the kind of things where it's just like, that ain't Wack. Like, I agreed to go. All right, okay, serious question though, Wack. Like, the whole thing, like, your family is there with Simon, like, that was a bait from you, right? Like, that was you being like, come on, RP is right here. You can do it. Like, okay, all right.
Did it feel like a bait? Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, the baiting stuff is crucial for DM. You have to. Brad was talking about this on the Industrial podcast. Was saying like, the best thing that I can do for you is to give you a pile of loot as bait. It's so shiny. I need to go.
Surely there's nothing wrong with it. Surely
That's
nothing.
what Dan just did for our mission in Starfinder. We basically we're on a bounty board, and he's just like, all right, you look through all these, and it goes from like easiest to hardest, and you've got all these, okay, like 3 missions here. They're like kind of easy, and then there's one here in the middle, and we just started, and we're just like, we're taking the loot. Like it's like
yeah,
we're going to a planet
yeah.
that's full of poison and undead. Let's do this.
It's like Lost Tech and something like that. We're like, yup, we're doing that, yup.
And I think that the only thing that I'd probably change, in regards to the end, technically I should have made you guys roll for harm roll and for the
acquire agriculture
property.
Yeah.
Oh, for Angmar and Siren.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
only...
I wouldn't.
Well, no, it was Angmar and Siren.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, dude, a fucking C4 bomb went off on us, and as far as the story goes, like where everything were.
Grenade is supposed to be like a 5 on the harm scale. So if it's C4, my head, and this is me thinking after the fact, this isn't because when I'm doing the show, a lot of it was like, fuck, it's 5 hours. I gotta fucking hurry it up.
That was,
I gotta worry about that, so that's a factor too,
I don't think we needed. I think as far as where the story was and where those clocks were, because they were all red. We were all fucked. It was bad. And like we had literally to perfect roll that entire thing to get it right. And it didn't work out. And I think that as far as the season end goes, to say that you were betrayed because you pissed off the wrong people and they detonated a C4, you detonated the C4 that was on Siren's body and you were right next to it. You do not survive. I think that that's totally fair.
I did just get an image though of like fucking Darth Vaderized Angmar surviving the roll and then just like cracking the whip and like dragging it down the hallway to go see Elo. Like that would have been cool.
That's like the role playing aspect, right? Like that's the game aspect. Like in real life, 99.9999999 chance of death.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I was only saying Angmar because in my mind, Siren was holding
Siren.
Well, Siren was holding the C4. So I was thinking Angmar was farther away.
I was right next to her.
Yeah. Would you do anything different for any of the missions for us? I'm curious. Like if there was one mission that you could change, or that you like didn't get enough time on for the prep with the chat, like
I don't think so.
Any regrets?
I mean,
God, I really wish that the fucking Manau thing would have worked out. Like that was such a cool mission, man.
Which one was that one?
That was the first mission of season 2.
Stadium.
Stadium.
Yeah, that was. I was really bummed. That was like.
I mean, I think maybe that one. If I gave you more of a description of the environment, it's so hard, when you DM this on a show sometimes, because you have there's a lot more pressure when you're improvising, right? It's way more relaxed. I mean, you guys remember at fucking TwitchCon, I mean, I was just like laying down when I was DMing, like I was just relaxing on a fucking pillow.
Dude, I love in person.
It was so chill, there's zero pressure. So it's like I can be a lot more sort of laid back and I have time to think, and this stuff you have to do in a hurry. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Any last questions? Let's do let's go with you guys. I don't think we're gonna answer any more from chat.
Okay.
But let's go for you guys. Any final questions?
We'll count that one. That one was my last. I just wanted to know, were there any missed opportunities?
I think my last question was, what were your thoughts on that? That was partially a bait for you to answer what you've told me before, it's just you don't like killing characters.
Goobs, anything? If not, I have an answer to a question earlier, because there was a cool moment during this campaign, but if you have any questions, then...
Nope.
Okay. So just to for the final thing, Silver asked earlier about the moments off of screen. I think there was a really good moment. Speaking of that stadium mission, there was that moment where like again, for some reason, this was a huge turning point in the campaign for me because like that mission where Kit died, that call that we all had that night after that mission was like that was the moment where we went like, Jesus fucking Christ, should we fucking switch? And we had that like 2-3 hour long conversation afterwards about the rules. That was a really cool moment that I don't think we ever mentioned on stream, that we just sat down and Wack went back and forth with us for a while about like the pain points of the system. And I think after that, we really kind of settled into the system. Coincidentally, the very last mission, but that was a great moment, I think, behind the scenes of the campaign that we had. That and that one night in like season 1. I don't know why it was so memorable, but like we were all kind of, I can't remember what it was. It was like Pip was sick and we went to break and Goobers was like, all right, guys, we've got to step it up for Pip. She's sick. Let's put in 200%. And then like went and took a piss and came back like, let's go. That was a really memorable after stream moment there. Fucking classic Goobers. Like, let's go. That was a fun moment.
Yeah, it's good times.
You're forgetting the towel though and cleaning off the cocaine.
Well,
it normally starts out with this.
From the
that's the on switch that Wack remembers.
Yeah. Right.
Oh man. Wrap us up.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
This has been an amazing experience, guys. This has been an incredible show. I personally just want to say thank you to all of you guys watching. All of you guys for the support and like the investment that you guys had into this show and the characters and the world that we built and like all the theories and all the like. I love when people are talking about theories and like what about this and what about this? And I'm just like, I don't know, man, you know, and to see that enthusiasm from something that we built together is just it makes a role-playing show and an RPG experience, especially broadcasted, worth every single moment. So thank you guys, all of you guys. You are the reason why this was such an incredible experience, and I just want to say thank you.
And you, Wack, thank you.
Thank you guys, because I got news for you. The campaigns they require everyone in the group to function. They require all of it. Chat is considered part of that group. The players are considered part of that group, and the DM is considered part of that group. Everybody together makes the campaign. And I think that everyone, the chat, the players, myself, all did the best that we could, and we had some really great times. So one thing that I like to say with all of my games is that chat, we love you, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you for being wonderful. Thank you for the fan art. Thank you for the commentary. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the fiction. Thank you for helping us create the setting, creating the characters. You're there for it all, and we love you, and you add so much to this. Thank you. And thank you so much to the players, because you guys are the driving force behind these shows. You know, you guys are the part that makes things interesting. When you create a character that you feel connected to is so important, and having any kind of emotion run through you, whether it be fear, whether it be sadness, whether it be happiness, whether it be excitement or general sort of depression about the way that things went or happened to your character, is an indication of that connection. And it is vital for a good show to have that. So thank you so much to my wonderful players. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Goobers. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Mav. Thank you, Pip. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure to do the show with you guys. And I think we're going to have an even better time with Identity Crisis coming up next week.
I know we get to play again next week.
Next Friday.
So excited!
Well, technically we get to play in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. We're gonna world build.
Excuse me, world building is still playing.
Excuse me. It's okay.
Also, did you guys hear that? You guys are part of the group chat. You have to
Yes.
fucking behave, okay?
You also have
guys
to be
gotta
here on
fucking-
time, and you're off the fucking show.
Pull your weight. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you so much. Any final words? Or were those the final words?
No, I think that's
Please
it.
go follow
final
me
words.
at twitch.tv/Wacksteven. Stan?
Go follow me at Wacksteven.
You can follow me at twitch.tv/Wacksteven/subscribe, and also Table Story /subscribe. I forgot the first part of the link.
Go sub to the Patreon!
Go sub to the YouTube. Go join our Discord. Go join the Identity Crisis Discord, and make sure to subscribe to the event so that you can get reminders for our shows, guys.
Yeah, we're
Thank you so
gonna
much.
stay up on that. We're gonna keep that current. We're gonna have all the events up there. Keep the schedule moving.
All right. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Identity Crisis. Bye!
Bye, guys! Bye, bye, bye.
All right, real quick. Just wanted to say, sorry if you guys can hear Vio in the background. We started this campaign on my channel the longest time ago, over a year ago, and now it is on an official Table Story Twitch channel, and that is a really, really cool thing. So just a quick thank you to all of you for supporting us for this long, and watching all of our shows, and being such incredible members of the Table Story community and all of our communities, and just everyone coming together. Thank you all so much. And don't forget, tune in next Friday, 7 p.m. All right, 7 p.m. Be there.